Grapsody, what Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between, yeah, it's all that. And we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg, yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Yo, welcome. It is I, it is he, it is Phil Lindsey. This is Grapsody. And of course, I'm here with Righteous Reg. What's going on?
In the building. It's your favorite rap, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. Saturday morning. I'm very happy to be here, Philip Lindsey. I'm kicking it, man. It's been a easy week. No news has happened. We're gonna come on this show with nothing to talk about because nothing's happened.
No news, you say?
That's a bit. There's so much news.
Yeah, a lot of news to get into. A lot of thoughts. I got up very early because I was just up, and it's been snowing, so I had to get up and shovel snow. And, so yeah, it's been I got up, shoveled snow, got some breakfast, and then hopped in the shower. While I was standing in the shower, sitting thinking like, got quite a bunch of stuff to talk about in terms of current events, but also that just how fast the AEW releases stuff came and went.
I can't believe it. Like I guess because we haven't been in this situation in a while, because it used to kind of be like this with WCW and WWF, where like things would happen this quickly. You'd like hear about something, and then like the Radicals is the most famous thing. Like Redacted won the championship on Sunday, and then like the next day they were somewhere else. Like seeing the AEW releases news, and it was a big deal that day or whatever it was, Phil, and people were going crazy, a big discourse, and then Ricky Starks shows up on NXT and throws everything into a whirlwind, and things just change so quickly, and I'm just like, I don't know what happened. This is crazy, but we'll totally get into it. But it's been news. I didn't know it was going to move this fast, I guess, Phil.
Yeah, everything moves fast. Yeah, we're a week removed. Last time we were here from talking about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is officially in the books. Philadelphia Eagles are your 2025 Super Bowl winners. This was a funny night of discourse because I was sitting looking around like, this is it, huh? This game is pretty uninteresting. I think you would probably have the exact opposite reaction to it if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan,
right,
or if you hate the Kansas City Chiefs. You probably loved it if you fell in both of those categories, or either or. And somebody that's kind of indifferent, and I don't have a dog in this fight, I was looking around like, okay, so is this other team going to show up and play or no?
I didn't know I haven't watched a football game in a long time, Phil, so I was like, I don't really know. Is this how the games go now? Because it felt like the Eagles were just stuffing them. Every single time that they were trying to do anything, Eagles are all over them. Patrick Mahomes, I was like hearing so many amazing things about this guy, and he couldn't get nothing, Phil. He couldn't.
All over that
Every time he would drop back, they were smothering him. He was dead. I was like, this is interesting. But like you said, if you're an Eagles fan, this was the greatest game you ever seen in your life. The Eagles are flying. Gilly was out there with his big hat. Like, it was lit. Like they were excited about this Super Bowl win. So shout out to all the Philadelphia Eagles fans and peoples, because they're so dedicated to this shit and dedicated to everything that they do that they really deserve this one. But yeah, as far as like a football game, not the most exciting thing you would watch.
Yeah, no, not really. It was interesting reading the room people that very much hated the Chiefs and were big Philadelphia Eagles fans. The thing I didn't understand as well is that people were bringing their politics into it. And I didn't know that part of it. I didn't know that Trump had picked his team in this, so of course people were rooting for the opposite team. Then there was other things like Mahomes' family's politics and everything, and people were bringing that into it. I didn't realize any of that, and so that then fed into how much people were very much against the Chiefs winning, but I was sitting around like, I don't really care either way. I'm still a Bears fan here, so I don't care.
That's
but
funny, Phil, because I was gonna ask you if people is the Chiefs thing a Roman Reigns thing? Is they won too much and they're hated, or is it a combination of a lot of things?
It's a combination of the things. It feels like they've won too much for some people. They got all the calls this season, and people were tired of that. People were tired of Taylor Swift. People were tired of her relationship with Travis Kelce. It was just a microcosm of things, and I think it was an amalgamation of things where people were like, yeah, I'm sick of them. I want them to lose. And yeah, like I said, I didn't really care, so I was sitting around looking like, well, I just want a competitive game. This was not a competitive game at all. There were a lot of very funny things about it. Like you said, Gilly was outside, Gilly getting the game ball and doing his snow angels and the confettis. Can't be happier for anybody else in the world than Gilly, because this guy is one of the biggest Eagles fans in the world. He has been having the time of his life in the locker room. He was at the parade and everything. I saw him meeting a lot of the players on the field. Shout out to Gilly, man. Outside doing his dance, doing his stuff. Too Short as well, getting the pub off of this. I've heard blow the whistle so many times over the last few weeks because of Gilly. So shout out to Too Short in that. And shout out to Jalen Hurts, man. Went to the Super Bowl before, couldn't get it done. Had a disappointing loss before, managed to make it back, got the big W, him and Saquon. Shout out to them guys. They did that.
As somebody who has panties constantly thrown at him and Jalen Hurts, he doesn't need more. And now there's going to be an endless amount of panties being thrown at this very handsome man after winning this great achievement as a Super Bowl. I don't care about the trophy. I'm like, man, he's about to.
I was wondering where you were going with this, but I think this is a married man.
I'm like, this guy's about to clean up. See you later, wifey. Nice knowing you. I got this big ring now. No, very good. That guy feels like a really humble and interesting guy, and he, like, beyond what we're saying, like, he went out there and played his game. Feel like he didn't care what was going on. He didn't care about calls. He seemed really calm the whole time. Like, the whole time he was just like, I'm coming to win this football game. I don't care about no distractions. I don't care about any of this. And I thought that was really dope.
Yeah, played his game, managed the game, managed the clock very well. That was really the thing throughout this game. The Eagles were never out of their mode. They were composed throughout. I knew Philadelphia's defense was going to be the big game changer, and they dominated. There was nothing the Chiefs could do. I mean, the entire first half, I was sitting there like, okay, when we got to the end of the second half and they still hadn't scored any points, I was like, well, this is over.
Yeah, that's it.
And I saw people like, well, you can't say it's over yet, bro. I was sitting around like, yo, this game is over. Like, I know that the Chiefs have done this before. They've come in the second half and they've had these great comebacks, but no, those things were different. It didn't look like this, and I knew it. The third quarter started. I was looking around like, y'all still don't think this is over? I think this is a wrap. Let's
the
put a ball on
funniest part, Phil, was that Tom Brady was on commentary, so he was like, I've been in this situation before. It could be done. I was like, I don't know, Tom. They are eating these guys lunch today. I don't think this is the same thing.
Yeah, don't remind me, Tom. I hated that Atlanta blew that game. I hated it so much, man.
It haunts so many people's lives, Phil. Like, there's still people that wake up in cold sweats screaming that 28-3.
I hated it so much. It's right up there with the Seahawks blowing that game at the end when they didn't just give it to Marshawn to punch it in. I don't know what the hell they were thinking on that one. Pete Carroll, you still have to pay for your crimes for that one. One of the worst Super Bowl play calls I've ever seen.
Unbelievable. I can't see Marshawn. Like, I passed by a store out here in Oakland and people yell it out in the street. They're like, the Super Bowl. I'm like, I know, Doug. I don't know what happened here. We all were wondering why they didn't just let him punch it in. It's still one of the greatest mysteries. And I love that every time Marshawn sees him, he still brings it up too. It's great.
Horrible. But yeah, the highlight of the night for me wasn't the game. It was,
come on,
Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, which I thought was phenomenal. Man, had a lot of pressure coming into this, but this guy's been telling us ever since he popped back out with the start of this beef all the way at Like That. He's been saying like, no, I'm that guy. Stop comparing me to those other two dudes. It's me. I'm the one. And if you want to be really honest, he's been saying it all the way back to 2015 when King Kunta came out. Like, nah, I got a problem with you guys saying y'all can sit on my throne. This is me. this is mine.
We could go back farther than that, Philip Lindsey. In 2013, he set the hip hop world on fire with one verse that he said, I'm the king of all this shit. I'm the king of New York. I'm the king of rap. Nobody could do anything to me. Nobody could touch me. People were mad, and he continued to prove it. About 2 minutes into this, Philip Lindsey, it was already like, all right. Like, I remember when like that came out and there's no big three, it's big me. And I was like, that's a great line. It's amazing. But like, at the time, Drake was at the top of the world, and I'm like, Cole still, like, he's a rapper. Like, watch out. What are you saying? But then after Kendrick started going off on this, I was like, oh, I get it. I understand. Like, the accumulation of all the things that have happened with the beef and the album and the Super Bowl, I was like, oh, okay. I got you, Kendrick. I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. I think he's been saying since like that drop that, no, I'm that guy. Stop it. This is mine. I am the king of hip hop. And at this point, no, it's him. You can't argue anymore. It's over. Yeah, he started this thing, came out with the GNX up there. However they pulled that off with the staging, it looked like it was a real GNX that they gutted out. So when he gets off the top of it and all of his dancers start coming out of it like it's a clown car, I was like, yo, how are they doing this?
There's 40 people inside this car. How does this work?
Yeah, that was great, but just everything about it. I saw some people saying, well, he didn't do all of the hits. He didn't do this and he didn't do that. I don't think that was what this was for. I think he was trying to make a very distinct point with this. He was trying to make the point of, no, I am the first hip hop artist to get this stage by myself. I'm not coming with any of the bells and whistles. I'm not coming with any collaborations. I'm not coming with any R&B. I'm not trying to make you feel comfortable. This is a rap set. I'm going to get out here and rap. And bro, in terms of him putting the culture first and getting out there and rapping, it was inspiring, man. The breath control, just him just out there with a microphone rapping. He didn't get out there with the posse behind him and do like rapper hands with you. He had actually choreography. He had like the visuals. Bro, you got to give it to PG Lang and Dave Free. They've done this a few times with the visuals that it's impressive, man. That was the thing that I thought with the family business video and multiple videos he's done, the Count Me Out video. Mm-hmm. And here you could see it, the visuals. This was like the This Is America video on a football stadium field.
Yeah. Just on display, like symbolism and different things, and you could break it down and you could get into it. It's so much that could be broken down in this performance. I love that he made this album before the Super Bowl happened. He like made this album, this GNX album, and then people were like, well, this is just the prelude to something else. When the Super Bowl happens, he's going to come out with this other thing and make these big hits. The best part about Kendrick is he is so Kendrick. Like, this performance was LA as fuck. Like, he didn't change anything. Like, he came through and represented as that. GNX, like, the records were this. He was like, I made this album and I'm going to perform it at the Super Bowl, not like this is a prelude to the Super Bowl. And kind of transforming them songs into big, they are working in the stadium hits was quite a feat. I feel like he changed how like some of the songs are represented and they hit so much harder. Like the things you described with him not having a big entourage and posse, no backing vocal, just him and the beat. He's doing some of the choreography. Like, it felt like a performance, Phil, and we laughed about on Ask Grapsody, like everybody was like, what about Lil Wayne? And this would have, imagine if this would have been Lil Wayne. You see what Kendrick Lamar was up there doing. Like, I, as a rapper and somebody who does it in breath control and thinking of all the things that he has to do and still has to think of doing, what is this? This is masterful. This is like the top of the top of being a rapper, and you're doing this on the biggest stage in the world. Just an amazing feat. The thing about so many moments in this, but I think like the whole lead up to us talking about it consistently, everybody in the world talking consistently about, will he play Not Like Us at this show? And there was discourse for a while. I was like, it can't happen. Like, there's no way. But after the Grammys, Phil, I was like, oh, there's no way he's not gonna play it.
Yeah. There were a lot of similarities here to me to a movie or something directed by Spike Lee. This has Spike Lee's touches all over it. From Sam Jackson being out there, from the references to 40 Acres and Mule, all of it. There was very key points of this that this is like black. This is like a very black halftime show. And again, I have to applaud him for getting on that stage, a stage that big, and putting the culture first, pushing the culture forward first, not just getting up there and doing some hits. He could have got up there and did a melody of all of his biggest hits, and he came up there with a story to tell throughout this thing. He came up there with presentation, with everything. Like, it wasn't, hey, here's Not Like Us. I know you guys want to hear Not Like Us
first.
Let me keep building the anticipation. Anticipation is already there, but throughout this performance, let me keep building the anticipation. And the way he did that was incredible. We knew he was going to do something very Cali, and I think to flip it and have people out there both wearing red and blue, and then have the white in between there, and have the American flag. That visual of him standing in between the divided flag. What a great metaphor for not just where we are as a nation, but where Black Americans are right now. I feel like there is so much of a divide between the way people live and the bubbles they live in. And so to represent that and then be standing up there and performing, be humble in the midst of that. Incredible. Just so many dual meanings happening at the same time. The stage being PlayStation controller buttons, and to build it all around like we're all in this big game, and that's double entendre of this is America's game, football, and we're playing the game as Black Americans in this rat race that is America.
Yep.
This guy just thinks about things in a way that not many artists do. Just so many things he did here that were just incredibly well thought out. Somebody else pointed it out, and I didn't even think about it. But when he did Man in the Garden, and you had the Sam commentary over it, and he was like, yeah, great. You brought all your people, deduct one person. And I was like, I never caught that the title Man in the Garden, he's in a cemetery. That's what Man in the Garden means. I never thought about that. But incredible. But yeah, just the way he ran through each song, the cinematography, the way that the camera would be on the dancers and stuff, and then he would just pop back into a shot. Like the way they did it during the peekaboo. Really, really good. The cuts between him and the way they intermingled Sam in. I mean, having Sam Jackson on there playing Uncle Sam, he really is Uncle Sam because that's his name. Genius. And the story he told throughout of, hey man, you gotta play this. You gotta play this game. You gotta be humble. You don't bring that ghetto stuff here. And so to have him do all of that stuff to build up to Not Like Us, and that was the way he introduced SZA into. Oh, that was a nice song. Get to the stuff we want to hear, the melodic stuff, and that was nice. And then he goes, oh, well, I want to play the song y'all want to hear, but I know they like to sue.
It could have been over right there.
Bro, when he actually got into Not Like Us and how loud that crowd got every time the first few notes of Not Like Us played. there's hits, and there's what Not Like Us is. Not Like Us is a monster hit. It's out of here. Like it's just out of here. So once he actually got into Not Like Us and that crowd got loud and you could hear the crowd in the background doing the A minor, I was sitting there the whole time thinking, all right, man, I don't know how this guy ever comes back from this. I don't know how Drake ever comes back from this. And I know we've been saying this multiple times, but
you keep saying it.
To do this on this massive of a stage, and that whole crowd was doing the A minor with him. That, of course, the screenshot of him looking straight into the camera with that big smile on his face. Say, Drake, I heard you like him young. Diabolical.
You're dead. When he said "Say Drake" and looked into the camera and smiled, I yelled at my TV, "You're dead." To Drake, you're dead. Like, it's over. Like, I don't think there's coming back from this. Like, you can still exist in the space, but it's just going to be so different from here on out. Like, a crowd at the Super Bowl that we were thinking if they were going to do the song or not, and the crossover, and there's people in there that might not know what this was, but nope, the crowd knew what song this was, and they knew when to come in, and they didn't get the pedophile. He didn't say the pedophile line on the mic, but they said it in the crowd, and then immediately coming to A minor, and everyone in this crowd is saying it on the Super Bowl, and there's 130 million people watching this. Philip Lindsey, what?
Insane. And then he got into TV off to finish this, which, again, the way that this guy thinks of things, starting this entire set and saying, the revolution will be televised. You guys picked the wrong guy. And starting and closing this with TV off. Mm-hmm. The whole thing being about we're in this game, and closing with TV off, closing with game over in the lights in the crowd. Just really, really well executed. I knew when I heard TV off for the first time, I was like, oh, everybody's going to be in their home and in that crowd screaming Mustard. And that's exactly what happened. Mustard coming out, getting his victory lap. So great. So dope for Mustard, man. The fact that he's gotten so much praise from this, that's awesome. Serena Williams crip walking. I've seen people misunderstanding the significance of Serena being there as well, and they're making it just about Drake. That's not specifically why she was there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a nice little cherry on top if you know that they dated at one point. But I thought the whole reason for Serena being there is she's crip walked multiple times after winning on big stage, whether it be at the Olympics, Wimbledon, or wherever else, and it's always been put in this vein of tone that down. And as a guy that's a Compton representative, of course he's like, nah, do your dance here, because I'm not telling you to tone anything down. This is the most Compton performance. This is the most hip hop thing ever. This is the most I'm gonna go up for the culture. Now come out here and do it with me.
Yeah, I want you to be loud about it. The camera's going to zoom in on you. We're going to know that it's Serena. Like, we're going to know it's on the biggest stage. For her to be scrutinized after she did that on those gigantic stage and then get on to one of the gigantic stages in the world and do that, great symbolism. Also, like you said, the Drake thing, hilarious. Like, if you think that little added aspect of she's crip walking on his grave, I was on the floor. I'm dead. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. I know he was saying the same thing. I can't believe this is happening. Amazing stuff. Mustard, that thing, first of all, getting the Heinz commercial. When I saw the Heinz commercial, I was like, all right, you guys, I love it here. I love everything about this. The fact that he gets to that happen is amazing for him, amazing for hip hop. Such a great thing.
Yeah. So my whole thoughts on all of this was, no, I'm putting Black culture and the Black American experience in your face on this big stage. Right. This wasn't just about Drake. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, this is just him making it all about Drake. No, I think it was a victory lap.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just that. There was so much done and said here that wasn't about Drake. It was so much symbolism here that had nothing to do with Drake.
I mean, the fact that you brought up that great point there, the kind of revolution will be televised type Black history we kind of strive on, and ending with TV off, televised to TV off is just like, that's such crazy thing to do on this big stage. It's like, I saw multiple people like, I can't believe he's still doing this Drake thing. He used his whole Super Bowl performance to go at Drake. And I'm like, if you left it with just that, you should watch it again and you should really focus. Like, that was a part, like, he did his victory lap, he put a stamp on it, but there was so much more in here.
No, there was so much more to this. He's got the GNX tour coming up. He did a lot of GNX songs to get people interested in that album and to get people to buy tickets specifically to that tour. And to all the people that are like, why didn't he do the hits? No, this was to get people curious as to who this guy is. And I saw Dave Free talk about it. I can't remember. I think it was the Washington Post where he did the interview about it. And that was the point he made. It wasn't about playing the hits. It was getting people curious about who this artist is and getting them to go look this up. The stat that I've seen is he's the most discovered artist on Apple now of anybody. Like, for the numbers, he's done massive numbers of people going and looking up his music and trying to find out more about him. And that's what this was supposed to do, because me and you are Kendrick fans, me and you are hip hop fans, but not everybody is that locked in, and not everybody is tuned into his music outside of even like the diss stuff. So for him to get up there and introduce himself on a massive stage like that and get people to go look up his music, that's the point.
It used to be about discoverability even when people are on the Super Bowl stage, because there's still a legion of people that don't know who these people are. And that's exactly how it was for Kendrick here. I also love the aspect of during the whole Drake battle, people were saying Kendrick doesn't have any hits. He doesn't have any hits. He doesn't have hits for these people. He doesn't have stuff for the club. And then he went on the Super Bowl stage and did this with what people don't consider this, and still like made history, you know?
Yeah, that's such a Kendrick thing to do. People are expecting the hits, and then he comes out there and it's like, no, I'm just going to do this my way. I'm going to give you a hit like Humble, because make no mistake, Humble is a big hit.
Gigantic.
And I mean, there are so many other, he could have came out there and did All Right. He could have did DNA. He could have did some stuff off of
Loyalty.
Good Kid, Mad City. He could have gone all across the board and gave you the big hits, but he came in with a specific goal, and I thought he accomplished it very well. Now, I don't think it's going to be for everybody, but
no,
that's Kendrick in a nutshell. I don't think his music is going to be for everybody. I think his music can be incredibly dense. And because of that, it's always going to be divisive, but that's hip hop. I also saw people, like older people, didn't get it. Yeah, because this is music for young people.
That was part of the reason, a big part of the reason why I loved it, is I saw a lot of people being like, this is just for Kendrick fans. If you don't know, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, sometimes it doesn't have to, our art form and our culture doesn't have to be for the masses. We could be on the biggest stage, but it doesn't have to be for the biggest stage. We don't have to present it for that. Like, it still can be exactly our way. And that's what I felt like. Jermaine Dupri said that. He was like, all these people talking about they didn't understand in Kendrick, they don't know why he did that. Like, hip hop is supposed to be misunderstood. We're built on people being like, what is this? This is a crazy art form. They see us on TV and they petition and they say, what is this? It was supposed to be like that. Not everyone was supposed to get it. He's not supposed to go out there and do his big top 40 Billboard hits. That's not what this is supposed to represent.
No. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you expected Kendrick of all people to go out there and conform,
come on.
No. That if you've been paying any attention to this guy, you know he wasn't going to do that. And again, masterful job. Everybody involved in this, like I said, PG Lang, Dave Free, executed the visuals on this very, very well. Wow. Choreography on the dancers and everything, the way he would slide into the choreography and then slide into just like moving around and doing this thing. Incredible. The production design, I think if I read right, the production designer for this has worked on 19 Super Bowls. He also worked on Prince's Super Bowl.
Wow.
Which that's incredible. And I also read that he watched a bunch of Super Bowl halftime shows to prepare for this. He and Dave Free, and particularly they watched Prince, they watched Michael Jackson, Beyonce, all to kind of come up with the idea how to put this thing together. Man, and you could see it. You could see some of the touches here of them trying to make something not just that was an appealing show on TV, but was appealing to people watching it in the stands. And it was very, very black. Sorry, I love that about it. I love that he did not try to be accessible. He didn't try to go, oh, well, I know this is a bigger crowd. Let me try to do this. I saw people say that he seemed a little bit nervous and jittery at the beginning, and he got into his comfort zone in the middle, but it's a lot of people out there, man. It's a big crowd.
That's crazy. I mean, he performs in front of these big crowds out all the time, but like also added pressure. There's 100 million people watching you right now. That's so different. Another thing I kind of loved about it, it feels like it was all, I don't know if they knew from the beginning when they did like the Not Like Us video and the Squabble Up video, everything kind of previous to this feels like it all connected at the end on this. Like those videos were like building up to the anticipation, and they kind of brought a lot of the concepts and visuals from those videos to the stage. And I was like, the fact that like I saw that had some Oakland turf dancers on there, like the fact that it was just so Californian, they continue to put on and inspire in that way is such an inspiring thing, man. It just makes me feel good as someone from California, as someone who loves hip hop, and as someone who just loves the culture, man. It felt like it was a moment for us.
Yeah, as somebody that's been a fan of hip hop since I was probably like 10, 11 years old.
Yeah,
this was like refreshing.
Yes.
For this to be the first hip hop performer on this stage, and the bar he set for everybody that comes behind him,
unreal,
amazing.
He only had one. Only SZA was the only feature, essentially. Just going out there, all bars, no help, is crazy. Phil, people don't do that.
Yeah, and these were all his songs. It's not like he brought her out to do any of her music.
Right.
She did Luther, of course, off GNX, and then did All the Stars. All the Stars was a massive hit when it hit too. That was great. But yeah, 61 million people have watched this on YouTube. That's
I've watched
insane.
it about 100 million times myself, so I understand. That's so many people, Phil. That's crazy.
61 million people. The status out there, this is the most viewed Super Bowl halftime show. 133.5 million people watched this. I saw that there was a bit of a dispute with Rock Nation about the numbers because people were bringing up that screenshot of the Usher tweet. And if you read it carefully, what it says is that was the most viewed Super Bowl ever. Not that this was the most viewed Super Bowl halftime show. So, yeah, I get it. People, of course, read the fine print. When you're trying to hype these things up, like a lot of these companies and corporations try to do, they're going to put these big numbers and stats out there. But I thought that when you actually read both tweets, they do make the distinction that one was the number for that Super Bowl and one was for this halftime show.
People were so mad. They were really trying to dish you, Rock Nation, the whole time. Like, you just did last year, man. How you gonna try to tell us right now? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dog, just take it. Celebrate the victory. There's been so much hate, Phil. Like, I love, like I said on Blue Sky, I felt like for a long time that hip hop, it has our own language. I felt like it's our own space. Like Nori always talks about on Drink Champs, he's like, I want to have a hip hop flag that I fly out in front of my house so this is a hip hop household. Like, I feel like hip hop is like that for us. And so there were a lot of people that are like, I don't understand it. This guy's mumbling. What's the symbolism? What's all this? Phil, the both of us understood every point of this. I felt like Kendrick was speaking a coded language that only we understand. And that is so unique to our life and situation that is, again, feels so refreshing. Like, he's doing this all on this big, huge stage, and we're locked in because we've been here for the ride. And there's a bunch of people that were like, what is this? And it just feels good to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I loved it. I already knew watching it that everybody's not going to like it. I mean, there were people sitting there watching it with me that were like, I don't get it. And I was like,
you're not supposed to get it.
No. I loved it.
Yeah.
Man, I thought he killed it. Shout out to him. Shout out again to PG Lang and Dave Lee. Dave free. Don't make it Dave free. Speaking of, Drake dropped some music last night. I did not listen to any of this album other than the Gimme a Hug record. I don't know why this guy won't just fall back and get low. It's okay. You don't have to try to put out music. You don't have to keep putting out the subliminals. You don't have to say anything. It's okay. Just get low for a little bit and let this wash over. I mean, this has happened to so many artists, and they bounce back better than ever. I mean, think about Hove after Ether. Hove actually had some of the biggest moments of his career after Ether. That didn't get him out the paint. He just handled it better. Drake, you could do the same thing. Just get low and move on. I listened to the Gimme a Hug record because
is this a Joe Budden's diss track, or it has some subliminals in there, right?
It has a Joe sub in there, and there's a few subs in there at him and their podcast, and so that's why I listened to it. So when I listened to it, I was like, oh, this guy's hilarious. Sassy Drake is very funny to me. But again, you could just chill out. If you have not heard this bar, he does the backhanded compliment thing that a lot of people try to do. He did the what is it? Melissa Ford, you're a legend in the six. Hate to see you sit next to a dick sucker.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, the way that I was introduced to this is the clip of Joe listening to it on his podcast. His reactions to it, hilarious. He's clowning listening to it. Queen Flip is having the time of his life clowning listening to it. They keep playing it over and over. At one point, Joe's putting like effects on it.
Let me guess, Ish hated it the whole time.
No, I just everything about it was very funny to me. But I actually listened to the song and I was like, "Oh, this is all right." But it was classic Drake trying to get into sassy mode. There's a funny line in there of him saying, basically, "If I went away, what are the strippers gonna do? What are they gonna dance and read encyclopedias?"
I hate him.
This guy is really funny when he wants to be funny, and that's why I'm like, dude, you could just get low and just move on, dog. It's cool.
He can't help himself.
No.
When they announced that this album was coming out, I was all, why, dog? We just saw the Super Bowl. This is a time. There's been times when record labels have like assessed the situation and been like, you know what? We're going to change this release date. A new Beyonce album's dropping. A new Taylor Swift album's dropping. We're going to move it back to this, blah, blah, blah. This was a move it back date. Like, oh, you know what? We got this album coming out. But after that Super Bowl performance, we're going to, push this over here. Maybe a month or two. Let people forget about this and we're coming back right back. But the fact that Drake doesn't want to do that, or he doesn't allow his record label to do that, he doesn't allow anything to rest, is so upsetting. And what people have been calling out online, he never goes directly at men. He always goes for like the women next to him.
Every time. And it is it's such a corny thing to do.
It's so corny.
What do you think about that tactic? Because me and you have seen that tactic in play of people like, hey, man, I like this person, but the person next to him, I've seen it. I've seen people try to.
I've been in it.
Yeah, I've seen people try to throw me a backhanded comment. Hey, man, we rock with Phil, but that other guy. Or I've seen it. People try to act like they fuck heavily with Will, but them other two guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's some bitch ass shit to do every time it's done.
That's crazy, man. Just say it to me. Why you like? And we've been in the presence of people like, essentially like, I'm listening to you, dog. What do you mean? I'm them Grapsody niggas.
I've seen it in person. I've seen people trying to give me love, and then like I've seen it. It's some bitch ass shit to do.
See me standing there.
I've seen it
standing here. That's the thing, though. That's the real crazy part about it. But Drake has made a career out of it, Phil. That's the crazy part about it. And for you to go again after all of this, and they're holding you to the fire for the type of man that you are, and then that's what you go with. What are you doing?
Yeah,
I don't get it. It's crazy.
Addressing Melissa Ford and calling Joe a dick sucker is hilarious, bro.
What is this? We gotta chill. We gotta take a break. We have to rein it in. But they're still like, he still did the numbers. They're like, this is the first album of the year to go number one. I'm like, it's still Drake. He's not gonna. There's still a whole bunch of Drake fans that still don't care.
But don't care. That's what I kept trying to tell people at one point, and that's why I keep saying this guy could go away and it would be fine. Because there are a lot of people that still love this dude's music. They don't care.
They don't care. They don't care. I'm just thinking about Hov. I'm like, dude, we listened to Hov. Hov called into Angie Martinez after Ether, and it sounded like he was crying on the radio. Like he was so distraught. Like he couldn't believe that this song happened. And like people were called the craziest things of all time. But like Phil said, he ended up becoming Def Jam president after that. He like a billionaire. Like most of his big business accomplishments were post that. So it's like, this is nothing, Drake. And like I feel like he has an even bigger fan base than Hov had at the time. And so like even if you lose a good chunk, you still got 15 million left. You know what I mean? So like chill.
I before I got on, I heard the West Side record, Adam Page, which is fire. If you have not heard it, it's great. It's
Oh, I haven't heard it.
got Stove God on it. Stove God's got the line, "Wrist so heavy can't wave no more." And of course, it's got the Stove God ad lib, "Can't wave."
Love Stove God. Love them guys. Very excited about WrestleMania weekend and seeing that Hills Have Eyes show. LIVE. But yeah, you guys came for that Super Bowl discourse and you got it. It was amazing. Best Super Bowl I've ever seen as someone who loves hip hop. And I'm so excited about Kendrick. And like you said, Phil, he did that to get people excited about this tour. And like, I want to go so bad.
Yeah. Me and my brother were just talking about it, that Tyler the Creator is in Chicago on my birthday. I did not know that. And I was like, I might have to pull up to that. He's at the United Center on my birthday.
Damn, that's going to be sick. Shout out to Tyler, man, doing them big shows. That's wild. People thought he was going to be at this. Remember, there was not really any music surprises. I think Serena was probably like the biggest surprise, but there wasn't any, like, there was some talk of who could potentially be there, and it wasn't really that type of thing. And that's kind of the whole thing. It's like you left the show being like Kendrick Lamar, not like everybody else.
No, I saw people that were saying this guy can't carry a show by himself. Boy, that aged very poorly.
How poorly?
The It Should Have Been Wayne aged very poorly.
Of course.
a lot of these takes age very poorly. I mean, some of our takes age very poorly. When I was sitting there, I was like, yo, we actually entertained the idea of Taylor Swift being on the stage.
We did.
That would not have worked. That would not have been good. No, it's good.
Like I told you on Ask Grapsody, though, all I kept thinking of is "Don't Stop." I was like, we could have potentially got that on the Super Bowl stage, Phil.
Don't stop.
Like, you guys go back and watch that, and then watch the Super Bowl and see how it's supposed to be done. No shot at Wayne. Like, I think, he probably could have had a place if he wasn't wilding before this. Like, he probably could have potentially been the only feature, but like, no, he didn't want it, and he didn't get it.
You getting this very political performance and knowing that he's been standing next to MAGA folks and some of his other takes, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Don't stop, no stop. I think maybe not really the time.
Yeah, send us in your super chats. Let us know what you thought of this halftime show. Of course, any other wrestling stuff you want to talk about other than that. But of course, the best way to get your chats read on this podcast is to send us a super chat. You can also send us your humper chats at humperchat.com/Fightful.
I would appreciate, of course, everybody submitting super and humper chats, but I did have a moment of, I smiled before we started the show because I was thinking a lot of people are coming to listen to Grapsody, to listen to my friend and I talk about a hip hop performance on a Super Bowl halftime show, and we're on a pro wrestling platform. And I was like, that's kind of wild thing to think about.
I mean, we've been talking about this thing with Kendrick from the very beginning. Every episode, there was a new development in the rap war of 2024. We were talking about it. So I think people are like, oh, those guys are Kendrick fans. Can't wait to see what they think.
Mm-hmm. And that's just, I mean, we represent that is amazing to me. So shout out to y'all and shout out to us, I guess.
Shout out to us.
Appreciate y'all. We're going to get into some of these super chats. Our homie Van Twinblade. I was thinking, who was on our show that was calling him Van Twinnable?
That was Emilio.
That was so funny.
It was Emilio.
Van Twinnable.
my man sounded like he was a knockoff Lunchables. Van Twinnables.
Give me one of them Van Twinnables out the fridge. Shout out to the homie Van Twinblade, our first super chat of the day, who says, I was really hoping Ricky would have waited till after Mania to show up because him running roughshod, yes, that's how it's supposed to be written, over the collective would have been a joy to watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, is current Defy champion. And I thought once he got released, now he can do some GCW shows. Don't think we'll be seeing any of that now.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, Phil, because I had just watched that Defy show earlier this week because I heard it was pretty good. And I heard that Ricky Starks won the championships. I was like, let me watch this show. I was like, oh, that was pretty good. And then I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Van Twinblade, for that generous super chat. The homie Grapple Geekery says, finally feeling better after being sick on my birthday, but I'm here for Dr. Reginald and Philip post-mortem on the late Drake.
Yeah. Nah, he keeps trying to tell us also, I am not dead. And I'm just like, you sure?
Yeah, this is closest to it as you can get, is as far as that. The Joe Budden thing of being like, I wanted to go bar for bar with an alive person, not somebody who's dead, was hilarious also.
Yeah, there's a sub in Give Me a Hug that's related to that. And like I said, Sassy Drake is really funny.
See, if he was just like a lay low person and came out with a song called Give Me a Hug in like 10 months, I would have thought it was the best. So funny. A song called Give Me a Hug is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, everything about it. Him being sassy over the beat that he chose. There's a beat switch on there. And then he does like the I Miss You record at the end that plays over it. Then he starts harmonizing to I Miss You. A very Drake thing to do. Drake is funny, man.
That's why he is in the position that he is in. So it is what it is. Brian Anthony Rivers says, what up, y'all? Kendrick killed it to the point he had out of touch white folks crashing out. Wish Ricky the best in NXT and the Linda hearings SMH.
Yikes. Yeah, no. Again, this guy's out of here. When I woke up this morning to see Will Ferrell and Saturday Night Live doing the Not Like Us parody, very funny.
I watched that show last night, and when it got to that part, I was like, damn, it was like after the Grammys, he was dead. After the Super Bowl, he's buried 6 feet deep, but they're doing it a comedy bit on Saturday Night Live. They blew his gravesite up at this point. Like he's as dead as you could get after. Like Will Ferrell and Anna Gasteyer are parroting you, and they're making emphasis on the A minor part. Of course, I'm like, dog, come on.
Very funny. And I mean, not even just the Drake stuff. It just shows you how big that song is. Like,
yeah.
Massive.
I think about like documentaries where they talk about songs that got this gigantic, and when they get to pop culture, like out of hip hop, that's way out of like where it started and where it, where it lives, and on this big stage like that, that's when you really know you got some kind of crazy massive hit. Insane. That show, actually, I watched the whole thing, was very fun. They had a reunion of, I guess they've had 20 reunions at this point. Lauryn Hill and Wyclef Jean were on stage together. Lauryn Hill showed up on time to the show, and she performed like 3 songs. I was like, man, they paid fucking baggy for Lauryn Hill, brother.
I'm sure they did. I didn't see any of it other than like some clips here and there. But that's dope. 50 years of Saturday Night Live, right?
Yes.
That's what they were celebrating?
Brother. Yeah. But the best performance of this whole fucking show, oh my gosh. Post Malone took the place of the late, great Kurt Cobain and was the lead singer of Nirvana, featuring the real members of Nirvana, and blew the shit up. The shit was crazy. One of the best performances I've seen of anything in a long time. Like, if you were like, who's Post Malone hate club? Me. I'm number 1. I'm the guy. Last night I was like, oh my God, I would go to this concert. Like, blown away, Phil. They did Smells Like Teen Spirit, destroyed it. You have to see it. It's fucking crazy.
Y'all check it out. Those two things are kind of strange together, Post Malone and Nirvana, but
that's what I thought. When they were walking out, I was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go. Then he starts playing guitar. They're rocking. Dave Grohl's in the back on the drums going ham. I'm like, this is crazy. Snoop was also on there, and I'm the most California person Philip Lindsey. I didn't like it. I don't. He's in the doghouse right now.
I think it's because he just keeps going like, what? I did it. Who cares? I got my bag. And he's not even trying to address it. He's just like, oh, y'all mad at me? I don't care.
Right. Dog, if you came out and were like, here's the reason, blah, 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 maybe I still wouldn't like it. But like for you to be like, well, you would have did it too. I hate fucking you would have did it too. And money, like, all right.
I mean, I get it. I mean, it's money. I get it. Get your bag, whatever, but
you don't need it.
It just looks crazy, especially when you getting on people last time for performing at the inauguration, and yeah.
With how many commercials I see this guy in, there's no way he needs that money.
Yeah. That's Snoop. But it's Snoop. He'll bounce back.
Oh yeah, of course. People are gonna forget. Grapple Geekery also says having the entire crowd sing A minor on TV had to be devastating, and then his ex out there dancing to a song calling him a pedophile. Damn.
Yeah, but I mean, you reap what you sow on this one. He has been throwing shots at Serena's husband and all kinds of other weirdo stuff. So I think this is the least that Serena has done. She hasn't really addressed him in a major way and all of this stuff. So yeah.
And I love that she pretty much went online and was like, Kendrick we've been good for a long time. He asked me to come on the stage to do my thing, and I came and did my thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I hated that she had to put that story out to tell people, no, he just called me and we put it together. Mm-hmm. Stop making things weird for women like this. Like, she can't just go out there and do a song. This guy has been throwing jabs and shots at her and other women. She just danced. Like, calm down. And I'm looking at you, Stephen A. That was hella corny, bro.
Directly at you, Stephen A. What are you doing? What are you even talking about?
Hella corny.
We feel good about this. Well, she's out there doing it. Whoa, what about your husband? Dog, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm sure he was at home cheerleading for her.
Probably was backstage cheerleading for her, I'm sure.
Exactly.
The homie Arduit says, happy Grapsody, y'all. Looking forward to the bangers on Collision tonight. Hoping for good vibes till then. Also, clothesline your local transphobe. Yeah, fuck all transphobes. We don't get down with them. You can turn our stream off right now if you are one.
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to this show tonight. Some all-star festivities as well. Should be a good night.
Yeah, it should be really exciting. I'm hoping to get to whenever the show officially starts. Spoiler free. Should be very difficult. I'm going to have to stay off the internet. Phil, I was in San Francisco last night, and as you know, the All-Star game is happening in our area. It was very lit outside. They have some like installations and things scrambled throughout the city. And people were very outside, so it should be an exciting thing. The Bay Area is very hungry, so everybody stay safe out there.
Yeah, please don't get bipped.
It's a sunny day, Phil. Like, I was like, damn, it's a really sunny day. That's not it. It's a good sign for like living life, but it's not a good sign for them YNs, as they say.
Yeah, nah, please be careful. But yeah, hopefully people are having a good time in San Francisco. I didn't see any of the NBA stuff from last night. I saw a few clips from the celebrity game. Shout out to Big Bailey.
Yep.
Out in San Francisco playing basketball.
Mm-hmm. Big fan. Grapple Geekery also says, I mean, double damn. Yes. Triple damn, Grapple Geekery. Will Chisholm says, not like us, got the Austin pop in 98. Straight up, though. That was crazy. And I saw people being like, because there's a bunch of people, like I said, being like, this is only for Kendrick fans. People only got up for Not Like Us. And it's like, well, yeah, of course they're going to go extra ham for the giantest song in the fucking world right now.
Yeah, one of the biggest songs in the world that just won 5 Grammys. What are we saying right now?
Everybody came for Not Like Us. Yeah, dude, that's okay. What do you want? Shut up.
Yeah.
Sal Cruz says, Drake came back and gave us an anthem for the A, girl, where my hug at, guys.
That was the other funny thing that they said on Joe Budden Pod, and I was dying laughing, dog. Like, the idea of all of these guys, and you have seen the guy that's done it. Hey, where my hug at? Like, giving those guys anthem is hilarious.
That's such him, though. It's such
It is.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, of course, that, like, if anybody can give those guys an anthem, he can give them an anthem. And there you go.
He's those guys.
He's those guys. And look, let's say it officially on Grapsody podcast. Don't be the where my hug at guy. That guy is so awkward. Every time. And when you're in his vicinity too, God, I just get the most embarrassed out of anybody in the world.
Yeah.
If you're doing that as an adult, not in high school, we're sending you to jail.
Yeah. Nah, don't do that.
I've seen people do that with like women wrestlers, and I'm like, we gotta lock you up, I think.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't.
Yeah, it's cool. We don't need that.
We don't need it. Grapple Geekery also says, would you say this is the most significant hip hop performance of all time?
I don't know if I would say all of that, but I think for what this represents and the doors it's going to open for other hip hop artists, I think it's great. I mean, I also read about how instrumental Hove was in making this happening. I might be a bit biased because I'm a Hove guy, but he's not getting enough credit. And I saw a lot of people jumping on him when this deal was first done with the NFL, and he did the "we're done with kneeling" thing. And some of this was valid, and it was right to jump on him. But I think since then, what he's done with hip hop and the stuff that he's helped to curate on that field, including this performance, we got to give him his credit.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the number one of all time, but I'd say top 5 given the Kendrick thing and given what Phil's saying here about Jay-Z and just like what they did for the culture. I think like you can't replicate that, and it's hard. Like you don't get the biggest stage like this often, Phil. Like you can't. And for them to do that and for it to be the blackest thing you could ever do, very, very significant. There's probably some other things that like we wouldn't have gotten to this moment without those moments, but this is a huge moment.
Yeah. Hove also dropped his press release last night because the lawsuit against him got dropped. I don't know all the specifics about that, but that's a lot for him to have to deal with. You know, seeing him on the day of the Super Bowl with both his daughters outside and somebody trying to put those kind of allegations on his jacket. Yeah, I get that probably was difficult. That's also why I was very tentative about saying anything about it until we got any more information, because I'm like, I don't know, guys. There were some things about it that were kind of fishy. When her story started falling apart, when they talked about it on mainstream news, I was like, I don't know. This looks away. But again, I don't know what happened. Hopefully, no victims were really harmed here. Hopefully, this wasn't something crazy like somebody put pressure on somebody to drop this lawsuit and he's actually innocent here. But everything about it was just really nasty to me.
Just a nasty case all around. Yeah, it had to be really bad, Phil. He's sitting next to his wife at the Grammys. He has his kids out there. He has to feel like, dog, like they got these allegations on here and I'm just trying to like be this husband and be this dad and be not that. So crazy. Hopefully everybody gets restitution in the situations and then all the things are rectified. The homie, of course, Aaron Busby is here to say what K-Dot did at the Super Bowl is the type of petty I strive for. GNX is the hip hop thriller.
That's definitely a take.
That's a take.
I saw somebody using Busby's name for engagement the other night, and I chuckled at it. I was like, boy, this is where we're at, man. Like,
who's using Busby's name for engagement? They got Busby's names in all kind of places these days, Phil. That's crazy.
I can't get into the specifics because said person is not a big fan of me either. And so I laughed at it at a far out. I was like, oh, that's what we're doing? I was like, see, this is why I stay away from Twitter. Some
dots are being connected for sure.
Yeah, that is one of the funniest things about Busby being in our chat. And Busby's introduction to me and this podcast was somebody else shitting on us. And that's how he found out who we were.
Perfect. I love it. What a way to be discovered. Hey, how did you be discovered? So somebody
who is this guy y'all jumping on? Why y'all don't like this guy? Then he came to my page like, hey, wait a minute. This guy's all right. Like, he's kind of well connected. Let me give him a follow.
Yeah. Shout out to the homie Busby. He's been here ever since, man. He's been here ever since.
So let this be said. Sometimes, people that be hating, free press, man. I listen.
That's a fact. Like, I'm not even on that side, and people still are talking about me. I'm like, thanks, man. Just keep my name in your mouth. How about that, you fucking losers? Shout out to the homie Aaron Busby, who Kendrick had a victory lap, but also our homie Aaron Busby had a victory lap on Sunday after that performance.
This victory lap has been going on since at least May. It's still going. We're almost a year into this.
The homie Tin Ruza was like, oh, they were talking about Busby on the bigger picture. I'm like, why are they talking about Busby on the bigger picture, man? What is going on here?
I told you I was over when I saw Marlon Roy put his tweet on the screen. I was like, yo, why do they have a Busby tweet on the screen on Marlon Roy's podcast?
It's funny because you see the tweet before they start. I'm like, I saw that tweet. You a wild boy, Busby. You being a part of the biggest hip hop battle in history, like you having a place in that, is amazing. I love it. It's a great piece of trivia. Oh, y'all are funny. Van Twin Blade also says Kendrick ran more yards than the goddamn Chiefs. The boy in red threw to the wrong team.
Yeah, rough first 3 quarters of that game. They started picking up some points in garbage time, but game was way over at that point.
Yeah, the Eagles are already celebrating by that point. The flags are flying. The birds were out. The homie Meet Norma says 9:45. Trust the process. Monday at happy hour, an older white lady asked me what the halftime show was about. She may as well ask my favorite vegan recipe. I just told her it wasn't for her. Dipped.
Look, see, I didn't even think about that part. It's an icebreaker for y'all out there. I didn't know that.
I know for sure I'm about to get hit with that. Hey, how'd you feel about that performance? You do the rippity rap, don't you?
No,
yes, I do the rippity rap, white lady.
I just thought about Sat. Come on, Reg, you're a rapper.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the homie Sat, man. What a great bit on our show. We got to have Sat back on here. The homie J. Esquire 13 says, Random, but do y'all listen to Dom Kennedy?
I don't. I know of his music, but I don't listen to enough of it to have an opinion on it.
I've listened to Dom Kennedy and I've liked some songs, but not as much as I would like to. I can't come on here and say that I'm a big Dom fan. Of course, California, so when it's time, it's time. But I should definitely listen to more.
Yeah.
The homie Dante Soigné says, it's y'all show. Talk about whatever. I'm loving it always. Slow week for me. Wrestling. Watching only 25 hours, but it's been fun. Excited for Grand Slam. All love.
Only 25 hours.
That's crazy. I only got a quick 25 in this week. Not as much as usual.
You know, some light.
Some light.
Some light.
Shout out to the homie Deontay, always in on the pro wrestling and the brunch drinks. The homie Hey What's Over There with a very generous super chat. Appreciate you, Hey What's Over There. Trying to avoid spoilers for this Grand Slam show is killing. After that Super Bowl, J. Cole is the smartest man in the room, in my opinion. And Reg, the female equivalent to a meat chant, would be a wagon fight, I guess. Yeah, Phil, I was trying to figure out, because Megan and Chris Statlander are going to lock it up. What's the female equivalent of the meat chant? And I don't know if wagon fight is going to work. Like, you might. I
don't know if that quite hits, because I'm sure a lot of people in wrestling crowds don't know what you're saying when you say wagon, and it doesn't quite roll off the tongue like meat does. So, whoa,
that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Doesn't roll off the tongue like meat does is insane. But
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to think of something else. Say what's over there though, because that's gonna be some. It's not gonna go over well. And I think the biggest thing is that people are just not gonna know what that is. So I saw a funny Reddit thread this week because somebody was questioning about Samoa Joe, Hooks, and Shibata's new group. They're like, "What's ops? What does that mean?" I saw a lot of very funny responses to that, Phil Lindsey. I'll just say that.
What are ops? It's hilarious.
What does ops mean? What are those?
We're in such a crazy time.
I'm saying.
I just keep saying to people too, the fact that Crash Out is like slang and people are running around using Crash Out in the way they do. I'm like, guys, I don't think you guys know what that means or where it originated.
There's just like white teachers on TikTok using it, and I'm like, dog, that's not.
Bro.
You shouldn't. When things go mainstream, like now the Serena thing's going to be bad because people are going to be like, I'm going to do the Serena Williams dance, but that's not the Serena Williams dance. You could die.
Yeah. No, I mean, what turn his TV off means, I don't think people realize what that means.
They don't know. These are all just mainstream things at this point. And like, no, it's crazy. It could get crazy for you. Arduin also says LMAO Drake is those hug guys like Ben Kenobi. Well, of course I know him. He's me.
Of course. He is I and I am him.
I can make this anthem because I am the anthem. I feel him. And then the homie Margie Love says, happy Grapsody guys. I'm going to NXT Vengeance tonight, mostly because it was cheap and I'm in town. Hyped to see Julia, Roxanne, Bailey, and especially Stephanie. That's a great lineup. I'd like to see all those people too, Margie.
I forgot that show was tonight. I do not know what that card looks like. I know that the triple threat for the women's title match is on that card, but other than that, I don't. Oh, and Stephanie versus Fallon Henley. Other than that, I don't know what else is on that card.
Gun to head right now, we'd be dead. Oh no, the tag team match is Faxium versus Josh Briggs and his partner.
See, look, see how we pieced that together, man.
But other than that. That's it. That's all. Yeah, that's happening. Denise is insane. Tonight we're doing Grand Slam watch along. But before that, she's doing the NXT Vengeance watch along. So she's doing like an all day watch along. She's insane. And I don't want to be in her shoes at this point. But that's all of our super chats for now. We appreciate everybody. Y'all are amazing.
Yeah, appreciate all the super chats. And I see people are correcting me in the chat. It is a fatal 4-way now. Cora Jade has been added to the women's title match. That's right, because I forgot the thing that happened Wednesday with Roxanne dressed as Hugger Bailey and distracting her, and that's how Cora got the win.
Did they get the belt off of Julia this quickly?
No, it's too early.
That's why they have all the people in there, so somebody could get the little pin real quick.
Yeah, it's way, way too early. At least I think maybe they're going to try and hit us with a surprise title change. That's definitely a choice.
It would not be the greatest choice, but I'd understand.
Yeah. I'm going to get into some of these Humper chats, and then we'll actually talk about some wrestling.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
From Wonka, it says, good day, Grapsody fellas. New Beginning was a really fun show. Congrats to Goto. Grand Slam was a lot of fun as well. No spoilers, but they announced they'll be coming back to town. So coming back down, in 2026. Yeah, I have seen that. Hopefully they promoted a bit better. Hopefully we don't have some of the confusions that we got this time around. But some of the pictures I've seen of that crowd, it looks lit. It's very full in there. Looks very lively. I have tried to stay away from spoilers. When I tried to pull up the card for this so I can talk about it on the show on Wikipedia, they already have the match results on there.
Oh no!
Just like, come on, man. So I've stayed mostly spoiler free.
What a great place that discourse ended up, Phil, of people being upset about the promotion and how the show worked out and what they did, and they think they were tricked and supposed to be a pay-per-view. Ended up being the third largest gate that AEW's ever done.
I mean, I figured that was going to happen, but the way people are talking about some of this stuff, there are valid points being made. But I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. The show is going to do well numbers wise, and people are going to go, see, all of those people talking about it, you didn't know what you're talking about. It's like, we don't have to do that.
That's not cool. Yeah.
But people are definitely going to do that.
That's wrestling fans.
Yes. But to Wanga's point, we did get a New Japan show February 11th. What a show.
Surprise.
What a show. New Japan returned to Osaka to do New Beginnings. What a great show. That Osaka crowd really elevated this from a pretty good show to one of my favorite shows of the year already. That crowd was fantastic throughout. And we got several great matches on here. Got some big surprises. We got a lot of story developments from last year moving forward. Just an excellent show all around.
Yeah, it was a late night show, so I didn't know what was going on. And then I hadn't been on the internet, and so I go on and I was like, wait, is this real? Is this good? You know, we had talked about it going into this when Goto won the option to have this match. It was like, I don't know, you don't really think that's an option that what could happen, because, you know, Goto's been around for so long and he's been in so many situations and all these things happen. But then I started to watch the match, Phil, and I could the crowd, instantly the
it.
crowd, I was like, oh, I see. So when you talk about the Osaka crowd, like, no, they were on a different level that night. And it's just like New Japan is the way that they do their main events and the way that the camera works and the way that it's just so different than everybody else. That's the one thing that continues to separate them from any other wrestling company.
Yeah, this felt like New Japan 5-6 years ago. Just how hot this crowd was, like all the positive buzz around it. When Goto was announced as the main eventer here, how the ticket sales went up for it, and you could see just how much that crowd was into it once this show started. Started the night with Roshi Tanahashi taking on Togi Makabe. Of course, these are two guys that are instrumental in the growth of this company. And to have this on Tanahashi's retirement tour makes all the sense in the world. This is going to be their last match. And to open this show, New Beginnings, up that way, very symbolic, not just for what this means for Tanahashi's career, but also for what it means for the generational fight we got in the main event. So, yeah, very good way to start the show. Solid match, but the match where I knew we were in for something special. Drilla Maloney took on Shingo Takagi in the second match. And initially, when I first started at this show, this was the first match I saw because I missed the Tanahashi match. And so I thought this was the opening match at first. Buddy, this match was incredible. The crowd, again, very much into this. Drilla Maloney was exceptional in this match. I was like looking around like, what is going on? Drilla Maloney picked up an upset here and beat Shingo Takagi with his finisher that looks absolutely disgusting when he lands it. But what a match, man. He put Shingo through his paces. Shingo looked fantastic here as well, but goddamn, Drilla Maloney put on a great match.
I felt like I've seen a bunch of great Drilla performances as a tag team. I didn't know it was going to be like this when he went singles, though. Like, I mean, Shingo is one of the best dance partners you could ever have, and he usually brings out something crazy. But Drilla, I don't know. He I felt his energy during Wrestle Kingdom, and I was like, oh, This guy, he's locked into something else. Like, you could feel like he's ready to take over, and this match felt like one of those takeover matches.
I continue to say, initially when Finlay took over and all of the guys he was picking, I'm like, oh no, these guys are all hitters. Because man, all of the War Dogs, I like these guys. Gabe Kid, Drilla Maloney, Clark Connors, all these guys. Unfortunately, Alex Coughlin is no longer one of those guys. But even when Coughlin was there, I'm like, bro, he's picking all hoopers, bro.
Yeah, guys that can go bar for bar, toe to toe with anybody in the world, and kind of changing the perception of what Bullet Club is and how it's represented. Like the new wave of that is really dope. And Drilla getting a match like this on a card like this, very important.
Yeah, great match. I think this started this wave of like the energy getting better and better throughout the show. This was the first really good match of the night. Then we got Great Khan taking on Shota Umino. Of course, we have the story stuff leading from Wrestle Kingdom. Shota main evented Wrestle Kingdom, fell short to Zack Sabre Jr. Then you also have the story of Great Khan getting rid of the King of Pro Wrestling title and making the Rambo an opportunity for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, because he's making a point that he wants to be taken more seriously. He wants to be a main eventer, a world champion. And so following Wrestle Kingdom, we get the stuff between him and Shota. He's been very disrespectful throughout all of this and been like, well, you got these paper belts from the fans that love you. Get this out of here. Tore him up right in his face. One of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen. He's just like, look at you, your goofy hair. I'm going to get rid of that hair when I beat you. And this match was great. I thought all the story elements played off well. If you remember when Shota challenged Zack Sabre Jr. last year, it was in Osaka. That's where he got booed at. And this crowd very much kept that same energy. Booed him as soon as he came out. That crowd does not like him at all. This feels like the reactions for certain places in Japan for Naito, where they've kept that same energy. They hate Naito. This crowd does not care about Shota at all. Booed him as soon as he came out. So funny. Shota came out with fire. He attacked Great Khan As soon as the match started, bell rang. We got a hat match. I thought that this was a solid match throughout. But the real talking point is the story elements afterwards. Great Khan won decisively, hit him with the STO transition into that. I can't remember what his finisher is called with the palm. Looks nasty every time he does it. He looks right in the camera, sticks his tongue out every time. Like, get this guy out of here. And, man, I felt so bad for Shota when he lost because, I mean, he put this guy down decisively. Very disrespectful, like I said afterwards. Like, this is the guy you're saying, this guy's the future of this company. I'm a main eventer. This guy is nothing. Get him up out of here. He loses. He goes to get the clippers and cut his hair. And Shota is so dejected. He snatches the clippers away and he starts cutting his own hair. He's like got big patches of bald spots and he leaves and he just looks completely lost and dejected. What a great story, because this is all about building Shota back up, because I do believe he will be back. I am not trading in my Shota stock just yet. I do think he will be back. There were signs of it in the Wrestle Kingdom main event. I know that was a very polarizing match, but he showed glimpses that he could get back there and he could be a main eventer eventually. New Japan is clearly invested in him. And I think the story of his comeback is going to be great because we've seen this so many times. I mean, that's a big part of who Naito is, him going away and rebuilding himself. And I think whatever this means for him, I know some people were not a fan of Shota's hair. And so Shota cutting it really low and possibly, you know, getting a presentation change, getting a new look, I think that can help him. Maybe this is leading to him joining another bald guy in America in the Death Riders. I would be all for that. But he's slated for the New Japan Cup in March, so we're going to see him again soon. I don't know what that means in between there, but I'm invested in the story.
Yeah, I think this is even more reason for me to believe he's going to come back and have the biggest return he could ever have after that Wrestle Kingdom thing. The New Japan playbook, this is it to a T. Like, he had the big Wrestle Kingdom match, didn't make it happen, and now he's just going to go on this arc, maybe change, listening to the fans, adding things in. Like, this is everything you would want out of that situation, and I think that he's just going to continue building and building and building, and by the time another year happens, like, he's going to be closer to who they want him to be. This is just all story building him, and a great way for him to come out of Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I think it's such a great time for him to be in the spot that he's in because the company is in a transitional phase, and he's been at the forefront of this. It's going to take a minute. I think, you know, anytime somebody is a hand-picked guy, the fans are going to initially reject him. It's going to take time, and you come out.
Never instantly works. Never.
Yeah, and he, of course, came out and said, I'm a top guy, and it's, you know, the usual. People want you to show and not tell, and so I think
especially
he'll be back
in New
there.
Japan.
Yes. But I think this is leading to something. I'm invested for whatever this is. But poor Shota, he looked so dejected. He looked so lost at the end of this match.
I do love that element of him being like, "Nah, you're right. Hand me the clippers. I'm doing this.
I'm cooked.
I'm cooked. Just hand them to me."
I lost at Wrestle Kingdom. Now I lost to Great Khan. I'm cooked. Give me the clippers.
But he'll be back. And shout out to Great Khan talking all that shit too.
Bro, merciless. Great Khan has been merciless throughout. After this, we got Sanada taking on Taichi with Taka Michinoku by his side. Of course, the storyline here is that Sanada left just 5 guys, which is now just 4 guys. And Sanada's great. I was saying initially when he left just 5 guys, this is exactly what he needed. It wasn't working. The whole Inoki homage that he was doing and that world title reign was not received well. He needed to do something else. And so I think joining the War Dogs was the best thing that could have happened to him. He's got swag back. He's got the blonde hair back. He's got the scruff back. He came out there with a $15,000 jacket on that looked absolutely insane. It looked like something that Lady Gaga would wear with like all of these like glowing speakers all over it. It looked crazy. But again, this is what we want to see this guy look, man. When I was watching, I was like, oh no, he's back.
Yeah. No,
we're back.
That was the problem with him joining just 5 guys and becoming world champion. It's a case that I've seen before of the person gets to the dance and we watch the climb and we watch to getting to the world champion, and then they become world champion, they put on a suit and they're just boring and they're trying to blah blah blah. No, Sanada was coming out of a shell and becoming this great personality, and they took away from that. But I think the best thing that they do is surround him with other guys who just always have that personality that's going to put him in that mode, and he's getting back into that groove. He feels more confident, feels more comfortable in his position. Feels like what they should have been doing when he was world champ.
Yeah. Tai Chi, of course, is trying to get vengeance for him turning on just 5 guys, just 4 guys now. But, I mean, this match was fine. It wasn't my favorite match of the night. The stuff afterwards, I was hyped for that part of it. Sanada picked up the win here over Tai Chi. Then he looked like he was getting ready to attack him again after the match was over. And that's when we got the return of Yuya Uemura. Was very excited to see Yuya back after the way that he left during the G1. He was on a great run during the G1. Unfortunately, got injured, and so he had to take some time away. But what a great way to interweave both of these stories of Sanada turning on these guys, and then he joined the War Dogs, and the person that Yuya had tension with before he went away was the leader of the War Dogs, and David Finlay. So I love that now both of these things are coming to a head. Yuya Uemura now is set up for a match somewhere down the line with Sanada. I'm assuming that's going to pay off somewhere in the New Japan Cup. Would not be surprised if Yuya Uemura makes it all the way to the finals of the New Japan Cup. He's my pick right now to make it far, based on everything.
Based on the story.
Yeah, based on everything he went through last year and the run that he was starting to have in the G1. Very excited to see what this means for him. I was so happy to see him back.
Yeah, you've been waiting for his return for a while, and it's been kind of being prepped. I think this is a good place to have him return, especially right before the New Japan Cup, which is going to tell a lot more stories leading into this.
Yes. Finlay has also been announced for the New Japan Cup. We haven't seen him in a while. I know that there was some talk about his contract situation, but he is announced for the New Japan Cup, so we'll see.
Contracts.
Yeah, then we got Ichiban Sweet Boys, Robbie Eagles, and Kosei Fujita taking on a team of Rocky Romero and Yo for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. Very fun match. Rocky Romero remains one of the funniest guys ever. His entrance with Yo, great stuff. Yo on the turnbuckle to start this thing, percolating his pecs at the camera. It felt like he was doing it for like 20 minutes. I was like, yo, what are you doing?
Get down. Percolating.
But yeah, this was a very fun match. I really enjoyed this. Ichiban Sweet Boys, of course, retained here. TMDK, still your IWGP Junior Tag Champions. Afterwards, my man Taiji Ishimori came out. It seems like he's going to be the next challenger. Curious to see who his tag partner is going to be, but it seems like he's setting up a match going forward with them. But yeah, I thought this was great stuff. We got, buddy, what I think was quietly match of the night, and not to be surprised with who it was. Konosuke Takeshita versus Boltin Oleg. This, of course, is playing off of their G1 climax match where Boltin pulled up the upset over Takeshita in a tournament. And so this match was for the open weight title. Incredible match. These guys throwing each other around. Boltin picking up Takeshita like he's a baby and doing the Boltin shake where him. And if you've seen the Boltin shake, it's where he does that thing where he transitions from both arms and like it's basically like he's like doing a crossover move and dribbling this guy in midair and then slams him. I'm just like, what? You could just do that with a guy this size, I guess. Like, what?
And Takeshita is not a small dude. He's a big dude.
No. This match was tremendous. Very heavy hitting. Two big guys throwing each other around. And Takeshita is in that spot. He's officially in the Ospreay spot in AEW where every time he's on an AEW card, you know Ospreay is going to have a special match. That's Takeshita in New Japan now. Every time I see him on a card, I know that match is going to be special. this might be a bold prediction. I think that this guy is going to be IWGP World Heavyweight Champion sooner rather than people think, because he's been incredible in New Japan. He has been, ever since the G1, he's been fantastic.
I mean, he hasn't had a match in New Japan that's a dud. He is gaining more star power with each match. But yeah, he's just like that. Any card that he's on, he's gonna have the match of the night. And it seems like everybody's invested in him, but New Japan is really like, we got a young heavy hitter right here. Them immediately kind of making him champion and putting him right into the mix is a really good sign. And Takesha's just knocking it out of the park at all angles, pretty much.
Yeah, and they signed him. That's kind of the sign that I think that they're invested in him and they want to really push him heavily. Man, this match, phenomenal. On a show with several really good matches, this match was really, really good.
Mm-hmm. That's the one to watch.
Yeah. If you don't see anything else from this show, this match and 2 other matches, very, very good. We got the return of the Young Bucks to New Japan here after Wrestle Dynasty to take on the team of Hiromu and Naito. Of course, Hiromu and Naito were the New Japan Tag League winners. So this is kind of a full circle thing. They didn't challenge for the heavyweight titles at Wrestle Kingdom like the World Tag League winners usually do. So I'm glad that they got back to this, that they have a match now. And they picked up the win.
Yeah.
LIJ are your new IWGP World Tag Team Champions. I thought that this was a solid match, mostly carried by Hiromu and the Young Bucks. Naito is still Naito when it comes to aura. He's still going to come out with the fits. He still looks incredible. But he's just still missing a step in the ring because he's older and he's had a ton of injuries. There were a few spots that didn't quite hit. They were a little sloppy. But the match itself was really good because, as we know, the Young Bucks are very good at tag team wrestling. I immediately popped when they came out because they came out to their Bullet Club thing, Double Barrel. Big vibes for me. Nostalgia of when I first started watching New Japan and I first discovered these guys in Japan, of them using that theme song. Love to see it.
Why do you think they only have the championships for that amount of time? Was it just for the big moment for them to win? Like, what happened here?
I don't think there was a long-term plan for them. If I had to guess, I don't think there was a long-term plan with them with the belts.
Mm-hmm.
I think they wanted to put the belts on them for a moment at Dynasty, but I don't think they had a real follow-up for it.
Right. Like, it was just like, we want to have a big moment. The Young Bucks are back, what they represent. But, like, beyond this, they're not going to do it. Because they didn't. This is the first defense, right?
Yes.
And last.
Yeah. The Bucks, after the match, when they were walking away, they were like, thank you, Japan. We will be back. And I definitely think they will be back at some point. But
yeah.
Then you also think they're promoting the next big New Japan show in America, in Chicago. Maybe they didn't want the Bucks holding the belts coming into that show. I don't know. But it also just makes me feel like there was just no real follow-up. They didn't have a real plan for them moving forward.
Because I thought it was interesting that they had won, because it felt like the teams that they have in the company had more story if they were to win the belts. So I was like, well, this is interesting that they just came back and gave it to the Young Bucks like that. But, I mean, it was a big moment, especially with the crossover show and everything it kind of represented. So I understand. But now, where do you think the championships go? Because, like you said, Naito, he can't be defending these belts all the time in a fast-paced, great way. What's going to happen here?
Well, I'm fine with it because I felt like this was the logical next step for them after winning the World Tag League anyway. Mm-hmm. And with Hiromu, I love the ending of this, of them winning, and Hiromu's just running around like this is the greatest thing he's ever done in his career. He's got the belts up. He's like screaming and running around in a circle, and Naito is laying on the ground like, yeah, I guess. And then he's getting up, and he finally gets up and raises his hand. They're even going up the ramp, and Stu's celebrating, and he's trying to get Naito to put his hands up with him, and Naito's like, yeah, okay, all right.
Right, we did it. I'm gonna give you your victory.
There's the story elements of this from last year and Hiromu and Naito teaming up. I still really love. I still think the end goal to this is another match between those two. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Wrestle Kingdom match is the end. I do think we're gonna get another 1-on-1 match.
Right.
But I mean, if you're gonna put it on somebody and have New Japan wrestlers moving forward with it, it makes sense with the stuff that you built from the World Tag League.
And you can hire Naito doesn't have to be in singles matches. He can still be represented on big shows. He's with Hiromu. Like there's a lot of positives to it.
Yes. Yes. The co-main event of this show, and this just goes to tell you, this is the year of Gabe Kid. If you thought it wasn't, no. After the big match at Wrestle Dynasty, this guy has not missed. Every match since then, he's been hidden. This match was no different. He and Yota Tsuji put on a banger. Excellent match. Again, this guy, Gabe Kid, is very, very over. That crowd loved him. It feels like every crowd he gets in front of since Wrestle Dynasty, this guy is very over. He's very much got his swagger up through the roof. He's out there doing the moves, and then he was hitting a dance move on them that the top guys are doing. Loved it. Man. Then this match ended in a double countout, which goes to show you that New Japan is very much invested in this guy. They're trying to protect this guy. Yeah. But the match itself was great. A lot of heavy strikes, big chops, very loud chops. Great knee strikes in this thing. Some great counters. At one point, Tsuji tried to hit Gabe with his Gene Blaster. He countered the spear up into a pile driver. Clean. He finally hits the Gene Blaster to end the match, but Gabe rolls far enough away to avoid being pinned, and he couldn't get close enough to pin him, and that's how we got a double count out. But man, what a match.
Yeah, Gabe Kid, I think, coming into the Kenny Omega match, people were kind of curious as to how things would play out. He knocked it out of the park in that. And I think, what you want to do as a wrestler in this situation is capitalize off of that moment and that time. And that's exactly what Gabe Kid here is doing. Now, my question is, who, Gabe Kid or Takeshita becoming New Japan World Champion first? Takeshita, right?
I think it's Takeshita. They've got so much stuff they can do with Gabe Kid. The story here, of course, was that Tsuji took the global championship off of Finlay during Wrestle Kingdom weekend. So Gabe Kid wanted to be the guy that brought it back to the War Dogs. He was unsuccessful here, but I don't think that they're done. Of course, finishing this with the double count out, I do think we're going to get this matchup again. I do think he's going to continue to try to go for the big belts now, because this guy's no longer just like a small mid-carder anymore. He's working his way up the card, so you got to put one of those big belts on him soon. And I think the IWGP Global belt is perfect for him. I'm curious to see how long he holds. It's a never open belt, but it's such a perfect belt for him that I think he's going to be just fine for a while. Of course, he has that big match at Windy City Riot coming up with Ishii. Very excited for that. But what a year for this guy so far. Very excited for him. Love that he was throughout this match getting his shit off. Very much trash talking in Japanese to Tsuji at multiple times. What a guy.
Yeah, crazy way to start the year. This is the beginning of the year, Phil. Like, if he just keeps this pace and keeps going, he's out of here, all the way out of here. He's going to keep gaining more fans, but I think he's also beyond that, just getting better as a worker. Like, all of his matches, he keeps improving with every match, and he feels like more of a top guy as it progresses on.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, what a year for him so far. What a start to 2025. Yeah. I knew it last year. He kind of felt like the Jacob of their group, that this guy's just getting more and more over, and people want to see this guy succeed. After this match, we got this return of Evil and Dick Togo. As at one point, people for some reason thought that Evil was gone. What was that? Evil was upset with the results of his match with Tanahashi, and he was running around saying, "I'm done with this company. I don't want nothing to do with this company no more." But of course, we all knew he was going to come back, and that was all the work. But he came back after this, and he attacked Tsuji, and then he surprisingly attacked Gabe Kid as well. I thought initially this was him separating himself from Bullet Club, because it hadn't seemed like House of Torture was really Bullet Club for a long time. It feels like they're their own thing. But commentary actually corrected it. This wasn't him trying to separate from Bullet Club. This was him trying to take over Bullet Club and kick the War Dogs out, which is kind of funny because I'm like, well, wait a minute. You guys haven't really been calling yourself Bullet Club. Those guys have been really representing Bullet Club as the War Dogs, but that was the whole story of this, is that Evil at the end of this was saying that he wants nothing to do with those guys anymore. He's ousting the War Dogs from Bullet Club, and House of Torture proceeded to stomp out Gabe Kid. Clark Connor was on commentary. He tried to help him out at one point. They stomped him out too. I think this is a hot angle. We've seen Bullet Club Civil Wars before, but I think they got something good here. Hopefully this turns into a good angle for both of these guys. Of course, you can say what you want about House of Torture. They do get heat.
Yes. And this feels like we've seen things like this before, but like you said, House of Torture feels so far removed from Bullet Club. Like you rarely even think of them as that in the good way, because you think of them as their own group, and it's also kind of in a bad way because you think of them as fucking House of Torture. But I think this is a good way to really kind of put the stamp on that story, because there's probably people that want to know why they're not really addressing it at all times, and this is a good way to kind of put a bow on that.
Yeah, it feels long overdue.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they're finally acknowledging it. But the main event is the real story of this show.
Wow.
Man, they ran a video package for Goto to start this thing, and you could kind of feel it there, how special this match felt. As them running down his history with the company. He talked about his family, of course. He talked about his kids a lot during the G1 run last year. He brought his kids out, and it felt like that was the start of something. Of course, like we said earlier, the Rambo was for a shot at the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Goto won that and earned a shot at the championship, earned a shot at Zack Sabre Jr. I knew that people wanted him to win.
Yeah.
I was very much in doubt of could he win.
Right.
But like I said, when they aired that video package and when he came out there, that crowd popped huge for him. I was like, oh, wow. I don't know if he loses this match, that crowd might riot, because that crowd was there for Goto. As soon as he walked out, the Goto chants were super loud, and the whole time I was thinking, what a moment for him. If you know your New Japan history, Goto, of course, was a G1 winner. I believe that was 2008. He won a G1, did not win the championship. He then went on to win 2 New Japan Cups in a row. Both times failed to win the championship. He's been the bridesmaid, not the bride, for his entire tenure getting up to this point. All the way to the point that people were like, oh, it's Goto. Goto has great performances. We know he's one of them guys. You put him in a G1, he's going to have great matches, but he's not going to win the big one. And so that was the whole story coming into this. He talked about, like, again, his kids, his family. His father just passed away, and he talked about wanting to win this match for his father and dedicate it to him. That crowd, man. Osaka wanted him to win this match, and you could feel it throughout the match. Zach came out to his remix of his current theme, which is still fire to me. Big Zach guy. I wanted Zach to win this, but when the match started and that crowd was loud, I'm like, oh no, it feels like it's his time. It's kind of like what we saw with Zach in the G1, where with every win and the longer this went on, you can feel it. It's like it's his time. When he won the G1, I was like, yeah, it's his time. And what a run! What a historic run! Yeah. First British G1 winner, went on to defend the belt in his home country at Royal Quest. 2 nights in a row, title defenses at the Dome. No one has ever done that. What a run. 160 days as champion. I kind of wanted his run to keep going, but for a first world title run, pretty incredible.
Yep, and it doesn't have to be the longest reigns in the world for him to be impactful and historic, and I think that's what Zack Sabre Jr. did. But yeah, Phil, there's been a rare occasions, you could probably count on 2 hands, when the crowd is so behind a wrestler, there's no way a wrestler can lose, and that's what this situation felt like.
Yes.
As soon as Goto appeared on the screen, they were like, there's no way he can lose this match. There's no way. The crowd is in his corner. They are fighting with every everything they got for this guy to win. And you could just feel as the match progressed on, they got even hotter. They're like, they could feel it in the air. The wrestlers could feel it in the air. The commentators could feel it in the air. It just felt like such a huge moment.
Yeah. Great match as well. All of his comeback spots hit because that crowd was so loud and they were so locked in throughout this match. The lariats he was hitting every time, the crowds popped big for him. Zach was getting all the holds in, and I could see it the more and more the match went on. He started doing more and more heelish things. I was like, oh yeah, I see it. Goto's winning. And so midway through, I was like, yeah, I can see it. But what a great moment, man. You can't book these things, man. No. This felt very organic. And I think the thing that's so great about where New Japan is as a company in its transitional phase, where you don't have all of the top main eventers anymore. You don't have Okada. You don't have Naito in the way that he was a few years ago. Tanahashi's finishing up with the company. So you're rebuilding your entire main event scene, but you also have the time to circle back to all of these guys that have been there as long as Goto has or Zach has. And you can finally give them their moment. You can finally give them their due. And this was long overdue for Goto. Very emotional win for him. I've seen people on the timeline that were saying they shed tears when he finally won because we didn't think this day would ever come. Because like I said, I was not a believer. The longer the match went on, I became a believer. And when he picked up that win, that pop in there was just incredible.
Do you think there's an American equivalent that you could kind of put into perspective on how what this Goto, like, is there a wrestler that you could think of this could happen to, like in WWE, that would be significant to this? Because it's hard. It's hard, right? Because this is such a unique situation. Like you said, like Goto's been going for so long. He got to we all love Goto, but we don't expect him to be world champion place. But when it happened, people wanted it though. It wasn't like they didn't want it to happen. They just didn't expect it to happen.
It's hard. I mean, you could in some ways compare it to Kofi Mania because he had been there for 11 years. He had been there for so long. And people wanted him to finally get that W. He had never won the world title up to that point. That's close to it.
That's a pretty close one.
I mean, Bray winning at Elimination Chamber is pretty close as well for me because that was special, seeing Bray finally winning. We don't have to talk about what happened afterwards.
It's erased out of my memory. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the feud that happened afterwards, but I think finally about him winning at Elimination Chamber so much because I was a Bray guy. But yeah, this was just special. That moment of the confetti coming down and he's out there with his kids, just special. Incredible moment.
Unbelievable. And the crowd, like the 1, 2, 3, and the crowd just being like, we can't believe we're experiencing this moment. The emotion on his face when his family gets in there, just like all of that, and knowing that, you know, as a wrestler, and Goto's been through so many New Japan transitions, Phil, like he's seen the highs of the highs, he's seen the lows of the lows. He's been there through all that, and he's never been one to bitch and complain, and he's always going to give it 100%. Like he earned it in the Rambo, but he really earned it just throughout his career being a great guy, a great wrestler, and a dependable one that they can always go to. Just felt like such a great moment for New Japan in this position that they are making this transition thing, and mostly for Goto, who just like put his nose to the ground, just did it, and just earned being world champion.
Yeah, very rewarding moment for Goto. Rewarding moment for longtime New Japan fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a cool moment. Again, I've been saying it for a while. New Japan feels like it's back, but
yes,
this was exciting. This moments like this is why I love pro wrestling, because when you're truly invested in somebody and you've been watching their story for as long as we've watched Goto, just felt great. The G in IWGP does indeed stand for Goto. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I know Zach tried to tell us it didn't in his promos, but it does indeed stand for Goto.
Well, the score another one for longtime storytellers. Now the people think stories can play out for 11, 12, 14 years, like it never ends, huh, Phil?
Yeah. He's straight away saying he wants a match with Tanahashi that plays into not just his history with the company, but Tanahashi's last year with the company as well.
Significant.
I think Goto finally getting that win over Tanahashi as champion. That's going to be a big one if he can pull that one off.
Huge.
He also said he wants a match with Shibata, which I don't know if I believe can happen, but buddy, Shibata versus Goto for the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. That's a big one. Him potentially getting the win over Goto as well. You talking about emotional, bro? Like,
I don't know why. Also, a IWGP Championship match between Goto and Ishii, like what that's going to represent. You know what I mean? Because Ishii's he's also on that line of like long term, been here doing this thing. He represents kind of the same thing that Goto does. And so just like getting them in the mix, knowing that those two guys can main event with what they've been through for the World Championship feels like a great moment for me.
Yeah. What a great show. I love this show. It's going to take a minute to top this one for me. It's already running for my favorite show of the year.
Nice. And we had Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty.
Yeah. And Wrestle Dynasty was a very good show. But that's what I'm saying. So far, New Japan is killing it. The last New Japan Strong show was very good. We've got more shows coming up. New Japan Cup coming up in March. Got Windy City Riot coming up here in April. It's an exciting time to be a New Japan fan.
And New Japan already announced that Big Goats is bringing the belt to America, dog. What's up? That's going to be hard to see him in America with that championship.
Yeah. Already promoted for the American shows as champion. So awesome. That's such a cool moment for him. Got super chats. We've got some humper chats, sure. But before we get into those, I want to hit you guys with a word from our sponsors.
BetOnline.AG is the official betting partner of Fightful. 100% of the time when you get the odds from Fightful, they are coming from BetOnline.AG. And it's not just wrestling, it's not just MMA and boxing. It's football, it's basketball, baseball, hockey. They have the earliest lines. You can bet big with the high limits and rebet functionality. They have the fastest payouts with winnings paid in minutes and the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit. They've been trusted for 25 plus years. It's not some fly-by-night company. BetOnline.AG has been there. They've done that. In addition, they're trusted by millions. They've got VIP rewards programs and a ton of popular games. BetOnline.AG, that's where I go to make my bets. That's where I suggest you go to, my friends. Please just bet what you can and bet responsibly.
Please just bet what you can, bet responsibly. But for all your sports betting needs, BetOnline.AG is the place to go.
Get your bets in. I hope you guys scored big last week on the Super Bowl, and I hope you score big moving forward. BetOnline.AG, but of course, bet responsibly, you guys. Great New Japan recap. It feels like my friend said that New Japan is back, and I think for the rest of the year, they're going to have some very exciting stuff for us.
Yeah. Send us your super chats again. That is the best way to get your chats read on this show. You also send us humper chats at humperchats.com/Fightful.
For sure. We're going to get into some of these super chats. Hey, what's over there says, I'm curious about what you guys think about Carmelo on the main roster. I don't understand why Melo can't be booked and presented the way Braun is. He's short.
I've been saying that since Braun showed up at NXT 2.0. It doesn't feel like they hold him in the same regard as Braun. That's been very apparent since day one. I mean, when Braun showed up and was immediately in a world title picture, and Melo had won the breakout tournament and he wasn't in the same spot, I think it already kind of told you what they thought. I mean, he's an HBK guy, and when he moved up, it just doesn't feel like they have the same emphasis in the way that they book him, and I just don't like it. I don't like the way he was used in the Rumble. I don't like how he's being currently used on SmackDown. I don't like it. And I've seen people saying, well, just give it a chance. They've been booking him this way since the draft. They made a point of saying he was the top pick in the draft and highlighting that, and haven't done anything really worth note other than the Andrade feud, which was fire, but he's just losing, and I just don't get it.
Yeah, if you're comparing him to, like, hey, what's over there is saying with Braun Breaker, Braun feels like they had story, they had something to develop him coming in, they had a plan for everything that he was going to do post being drafted, it doesn't feel like that for Melo. It feels like they're like, okay, we're putting him in this position. Like Phil brought up before, Cody feels like has some kind of investment in Melo, and he keeps like trying to involve him in things, but it doesn't feel like they're really trying to. They really have the story or any kind of thing moving forward. Like I feel like they like him and they like what he does, but not like here's a story, here's something for you.
Yeah. It also feels like they're doing the thing that they do with a lot of wrestlers that the fans already like. Well, we got to beat him up. We got to have him lose a lot to get people on board. We got to put him through the paces, then give him the wins. I don't think you need to do that. And I'm currently not enjoying what they're doing with him at all.
Like that does work for some people. That is a strategy in wrestling that can work. But like if we already like him, we already want it. We already did the part. You don't need that part. You're adding extras.
Yeah,
they'll get it. But also, elephant in the room. He's a black wrestler in WWE, a black male wrestler. They don't really. It's weird for them over there. We could talk about all of them. Alejandro Reyes says, "R.I.P. to Drilla Maloney's man bun." Is WrestleMania? Is WrestleMania hype low right now? I forgot that WrestleMania was coming up. I was all, WrestleMania already happened, but we're in February.
I think they're getting to it. There's a lot of really good buzz around Elimination Chamber. It feels like Elimination Chamber matters with a lot of people that they have going into it. The angles that they had from last night, having the amount of stars that they have going into it, CM Punk, John Cena, Seth Rollins is going to have his qualifying match on Monday. I think they did some really interesting stuff last night with Jacob Fatu. He did not qualify, but they're setting up the seeds that there's dissension between him and Solo, and I do think that's going to be the WrestleMania match for Fatu.
So I just think that they're gonna get to it. I mean, it's a good problem for them to have because they're putting emphasis on Elimination Chamber, which is a good thing for them, building hype, and they're gonna tell some more stories going into WrestleMania. When they get into it, though, it'll be fine. You know how they do with these big things.
Yeah.
Alejandro Reyes also says Phil Toriyama is a funny man. R.I.P. to him. Diyama is thumbs up.
Yo, I know you don't watch Dragon Ball like I do. Dragon Ball Daima for the last few episodes has been incredible. There's been multiple things that fans have been wanting Dragon Ball shows to do for over a decade. And Toriyama, that bastard, he managed to make these things happen before he passed away. What a final contribution to the fans. What a great final contribution in a lot of ways. And I think that's part of what that makes Daima so good, that it's such a love letter to him and a lot of things that he did in his career, whether it be Dragon Ball and all of its predecessors and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT. But also there's so many influences here from even Dragon Quest and the character design he did there. Even if you've ever played a Dragon Quest game, like the music and everything, it's very clearly influenced by that.
Yeah, that's pretty dope to hear. I know I got a lot of friends and family and people that are into Dragon Ball, so I'm excited that, they're being satisfied at this moment.
Yeah. Excellent animation. If you're a Toriyama fan in any way, I think you'll enjoy the show.
And then our last super chat for now, the homie Luis Polito just became a new member. He's been around for a long while. What's up, Luis?
Hi. I guess.
I'm like, new member? This one's been around for about 5 years now.
I appreciate you. It feels like I lost my key. I got to find another way to get in.
Straight up. Like, no, what do you mean you're new? I've seen you in here before.
Yeah.
That's all of our super chats. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all are dope.
Yeah, Pedro was saying I wish the dubs would come out sooner. I didn't realize that it's on Netflix because I watch it on Crunchyroll. So I didn't realize it's also on Netflix. There's multiple places for you to watch it, but
look at that.
I don't watch the dub. I watch it with subtitles. So
it's crazy the where anime has gotten. I was thinking that one time going through the Netflix list, and I was like, "There's hella animes on Netflix now. Like it's a real thing out here."
Yeah, no, anime is mainstream now. You can find anime everywhere now. Well, it's been mainstream, but it feels like it's more popular than ever before.
I'm like, those kids were getting chased in high school. They were the weirdo kids, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, don't let certain people on the internet tell you, because they claim that never happened.
I remember you getting into a back and forth with some folks. I'm like, nah, I was in high school. Those kids were getting chased, getting their capes ripped off, getting pushed on the ground. Nah, watch out.
I was there. I'm not trying to hear this. No, you were never bullied for watching anime. I was there. I saw it. Come on, man.
I've seen kids get their comic books thrown in the air. Like, nah, you're not gonna.
I was there, dog.
Not about to do that today.
No.
The homie that ran like Naruto in school, he was always there was always one kid.
Yeah. Let's get into some of these Humper chats. We got some from Tony P. He says, most people in the world officially became accomplices to the crime of abusing of a corpse on Sunday during the whole Super Bowl, from the game to the halftime show. So congrats if you cheered on the beating of Aubrey or Patrick. You won Petty of the Week. Take a bow.
I was doing this. My hand was in the air. I was bloodthirsty, honestly. But no, it honestly, like, the Drake parts weren't really the hardest for me. Like, I liked it. Like, the Not Like Us, I smiled through the whole thing. But, like, just the whole thing was way more important than that.
Yeah, I mean, the Drake things were funny, but I was just in awe in how great this performance was in general, that I was just like, nah, he did that. He really killed it. And I am a big fan of somebody telling you there's something and proving every step of the way I am everything I said I was, and y'all are just late to the party. Y'all are just not catching up.
Yeah, laying out your plan and executing the plan in front of our eyes, like, you don't see that a lot.
Again, he said this all the way in 2015. He was like, bro, I got a bone to pick. I don't want y'all on my throne again. Stop playing with me.
Right.
Listen,
this was when he liked these people. He was still being like, no, I don't like these fools.
Bro, I can dig rapping, but a rapper with a ghostwriter? What the fuck happened? All the way in 2015. He been on his dude's neck.
Yeah, he's been on his neck. Off rip. That was the first song on that album. He's like, look, off rip. I don't like this fool. I don't like none of these fools. I hate that y'all are comparing me to people. And so just the stamp was like, damn, where do you go from here? Like, I think Kendrick, like, did his thing. He's going to go on tour. He's going to have this big thing. But, like, does J. Cole say something, or does he just...
No. Do not talk about this anymore. We don't need another explanation as to why you erased your diss track. No. Leave this alone. You made the right decision. I think we're all looking at you like, yeah, you didn't want none of that guy. It's okay. You did the right thing. But just move on. Put your album out. I'm still excited for the fall off.
So excited.
That's cool. I don't even like people that are like, oh, J. Cole sucks. I'm sick of him. Bro, that guy still be rapping. I ain't trying to hear that.
I hate people that try to switch the narrative now. Yeah, he dropped out of the battle. That's fine. It's interesting. It was a wild way to kind of do it. But you're not going to say that J. Cole can't rap and he's not that guy still. That's stupid.
No. Still very much excited for his album. Excited for new music from him. But, yeah, get to it. All right. Yeah. He's not nearly in the dire straits that Drake is in right now. So
and he's doing what Drake should be doing. He's laying low. Like, if Drake would have did the same thing, things would be a lot different. So
every time we see this guy, he's riding his bike. He's out at the beach. Like,
straight up. Is that somebody's graduation? Like, he's just having a good time.
Nah, let him enjoy life, man.
And Drake's walking around in his turquoise cowboy boots with his basketball shorts on.
That hoodie he had on with like the bullet holes smoking in the back. I'm like, dog.
What is this?
Stop, man.
Why are you doing this, dog? Silly guy.
Yeah. We got more from Tony P. He says, oh, by the way, how is your niece take on a halftime show, Phil, since she's a Drake fan? For wrestling, AEW's been on a run of great shows. Heard good things about tonight's show, minus one match that many have been hampered by injury. Excited to watch still, though. I have not seen any of this injury stuff because I've avoided all the spoilers. So
no spoilies, no spoilies.
Yeah. No, my niece is away at college, and so I did not see her last Sunday for the Super Bowl halftime show. But I did see her on IG, and she was on FaceTime with her sister, letting people know she is in solidarity with Drake. She's not trying to hear any of this stuff that you guys are talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, this Kendrick guy. I'm not on board with any of that. Which I'm sure.
Hate it. The halftime show. I'm with you. You got it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people feel that way that are big Drake fans. So she's not the only one.
And I'm not even mad at the people that are still on his side. Like, you should ride for your guy. Good for you. Like, that's your thing. You came in with him and you're leaving with him. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, just don't be Maul.
That's it.
Just don't be Maul.
It's crazy. Yeah, there has to be a line, and Maul's crossed the line a long time ago.
What he's doing is OD. When they started talking about it and I saw how twisted up his face was, I'm like, dog, all right.
We get it. You didn't like it. We know. We already knew before we started this you don't like it.
You went in ready to not like it.
It could have been aimed for you. It could have been all your favorite songs, all the songs you think you should have performed, and you still would have hated. So shut up.
Yeah. Last one from Tony P. He says, in WWE, we found out they got much needed help for the men's side, and Ricky going to shine there. As for the main show, I haven't been impressed lately. It just seems like the hamster wheel of booking also decided to not go to the NXT show. Yeah, big news this week. AEW releases. Was not expecting these releases. That's kind of a new thing for AEW, but it was bound to happen because their roster is pretty big. There is no way they were going to go this long without doing major releases. It just comes with the territory and running business. It's, of course, an unfortunate part of running a business. Like we talked about the releases with WWE last week. Nobody wants to see people lose their job, but ultimately these things always kind of come with the business. The name straight away, Miro got released. I don't think that Malachi was
I don't think he was a part of this. I think his contract was just up, right?
Here, let me double check that. But Malachi was one of the names brought up as well. I don't believe he was released. I think his contract expired, but I want to double check that.
That's what I think too.
Miro released, and of course, Ricky Starks was released. All of these were announced on Monday. Here, Malachi's original deal could have seen him signed well into 2027, at least per Tony Khan's own words a couple years back. Fightful had reported in December that Malachi Black would be leaving AEW in the coming months, and by January had reported that he would no longer be on television. So, yeah, I'm still not sure.
His is a little bit different than the Miro and Ricky Stark stuff, because he has kind of extras going on.
I think that there was some talk about him signing an extension, but I'm not sure what happened there. It seems like his contract just expired. I could be wrong.
Yeah, because what Sean was saying, I remember the Tony Khan thing of him being like, it was till 2027, and I was under that impression too. Like every time we would start to talk about Malachi stuff, I was all, but he's kind of locked in. Why are you guys acting like he's on his way out? And so in December, it was like, oh, no, I think Malachi is going to be gone. That was kind of like the vibes going on here. So when they added him into this, I kind of felt like he was already going to be gone. It felt different than the Ricky and Miro thing.
Yes. How do you feel about the timing of this? It's very clear that those releases took place after Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Did not want to see any of these guys in a Rumble, potentially, if you were Tony Khan.
Nope. Seeing how immediately Ricky Stark showed up on NXT, I get it. I understand, because that fool, if you would have released him any moment before the Royal Rumble, he was about to be in that bitch. Like they were waiting for the moment. It's all super interesting, Phil. They're trying to play off of course, if you didn't know, they announced when were their releases on Monday, right? Or
Monday.
Was it Sunday? Okay, yeah, they announced the releases on Monday. Tuesday night on NXT, Ricky Starks walks out through the crowd, kind of reminiscent of Scott Hall, the original WCW NWO thing. He walks out and he's like, you guys know, it seems like you guys know who I am. Big pop. Everybody's kind of go ham. They start chanting Ricky. So he starts to play up the Scott Hall thing of like, you guys know who I am and you guys know where I've been, but what am I doing here? The revolution's here. And so everybody's going ham. Like it feels like a big moment. the fact that they immediately got him on, Phil, is interesting. Like we talked about, he just won the Defy World Championship. They've announced him, well, before the WWE thing, he was announced for some other independent wrestling shows. It felt like he was going to get into that. It feels like he was going to play a role in GCW's booking. Like, it felt like he was locked into that. But that's not exactly what happened, as it feels like he immediately got one. I'm not surprised about it, though.
Yeah, I think as soon as he was released, most of us assumed that he was heading to WWE. I did not assume it was going to happen as fast as it did.
No.
I was doing something else, and I was on the phone with somebody, and they were like, "Oh, wait, there's Ricky," and I was like, "Wait, what?" And so that's when I turned TV. I was like, "Wait, what's happening now?" Yeah, debuting a day later, and this very much felt like it was a last-minute deal where as soon as his contract was up, he had some conversations with people over there. They made this happen as soon as possible. They got the big shock reveal of him showing up on NXT to the point that he didn't have a Tron, he didn't have theme music. This wasn't like the Penta debut. They didn't have a plan for him. There was no merch, and I've seen everyone saying that it's not a coincidence that they didn't use his name. I've seen that translate to people thinking that he's going to change his name. I don't think that that's what's happening. There's a chance that he could change his name, but the fact that that crowd already knew his name tells me that would be a big mistake to do that. What it felt like to me was they hadn't finalized everything. They hadn't trademarked his name and some stuff like that, and that's why they're not doing it.
Yeah, and when he started to play up on the Scott Hall thing, I was like, oh, that's a smart way to do it also. Like, he doesn't have to be like, I'm Ricky Starks and I was blah, blah, blah. He could be like, you guys know who I am. You know what this is while they do it. Because, yeah, it feels like this felt like a less than 24-hour deal, Phil. They were just like, can you show up tomorrow? Or like the wheels might have been in motion. I don't know, like anything that happened here, but it all happened so quickly. And it feels like we know how they get down, and you bring up the Penta thing. Like when they're going to debut somebody, there's the machine behind them. They're going to let you know who's coming. It's going to be a worst kept secret. They're going to have merch. They're going to have a Tron. They're going to establish that this guy here. But tells a lot of stories there, Phil. You continuously talk about the AEW stimulus package and how they changed the perception of pro wrestling and how everything moves. The fact that he didn't have to say his name and we do know where he's from means a lot, you know?
Yeah, and I mean you have some other things going into this because, like we said, he is still Defy champion, just won, and so you now have the opportunity to play this up of a guy like, wait, what is he doing here? He was just signed with AEW. Now he's here, and he probably still has some indie bookings to finish up before he gets over there. So you have the chance to make this feel like, oh, it's just an outsider coming in. And I think that that's best case scenario for WWE. It makes it fresh. They haven't done debuts like this in a long time. I think that this was very well executed, to be honest. And I know people are going to do you're sending him to developmental. He was just on a big stage and he's on developmental. I think this is the best thing that could have happened for Ricky because you're bringing him in the midst of your WrestleMania build. They already have built in a lot of matches they're going to do at WrestleMania. He's not going to have a place where he's going to fall in as naturally on the main roster yet. He would have gotten lost in the shuffle for the next few months until you had a plan for him. Now you can put him down there and he's already ahead of the game in terms of presentation, in terms of ability to talk, in terms of in ring. He's already ahead of so many guys down there. He's going to look like an even bigger star amongst those crop of main eventers down there.
Yep. Even if you don't know who Ricky Starks is, Phil, and you're watching that NXT show, you're now like, well, who's that guy? Why did this crowd care? Why is this? Why is this thing? And I'm thinking of the way that they brought Ethan Page in. I'm like, if it's anything like that with Ricky Starks, he's all the way out of here. He's not even going to be, he's such an exceptional talent that he won't even be in there for a long time, I feel. And like we're talking about on Ask Grapsody, I feel like WrestleMania weekend, he could be in one of the title matches for NXT. Like, that's how fast this thing's going to happen. Like, it's going to start moving so quickly. He's going to become an inaugural part of the men's division just because he's so, like you said, ahead of 75% of the main roster guy or the NXT guys over there. So they're going to immediately plot him into this. There's so many interesting things that happened, but I think that how quick it happened and how everything went down is super interesting. My question for you, Philip Lindsey. One, do you think they'll let him air his grievances? And two, will he?
I think we're going to get some innuendos for sure. They'd be foolish not to let him do some of that because it's worked out so well for them in the past. And he might not name AEW by name. He might not get into specific events, but he's definitely going to get some digs in. There's no way he doesn't. I mean, with the way he left and everything, I know we're going to get into the fumble talk with him and AEW fumble him, but it's the same when we talked about Max Grapsody. I think the big thing here is he was allowed to create a mystique for himself while he was not on TV. That time period where he came back and he did the Chris Van Vliet interview and he was just like, well, I don't know why I'm not on TV. And I don't know what's going on. And then
I
in the
knew
meantime,
from then that I was like, oh, he's saying this out loud on a big platform. Ooh,
yeah,
you know.
And at the time he's doing indie bookings. Certain indie bookings were taken away from him. You're now creating the perception that the office is keeping him down. It doesn't matter if that's the truth or not. That's the perception that's out there. And that has worked for so many guys in wrestling. The two guys that are vouching for him, that has been a big part of their career. Cody Rhodes left WWE because they didn't believe in him, didn't see him as a main eventer, went away for 6 years and built himself into a bigger star. CM Punk, they didn't believe in me. I'm cutting the pipe bomb. That changed his career. Jon Moxley, they were treating me like a joke over here. I'm leaving and I'm going to prove I'm that guy somewhere else. It's a tried and tested thing in wrestling. And so when you let this guy create this perception that he's being held down, now he's going into this other company like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And so everything he does now is going to look like a bigger deal. And it's just going to be, hey, it's up from here. And that's why I think even more putting him on NXT was the right call, because you're putting him down there in a brand that is devoid of real main eventers. You built this guy up. He's going to be world champion within a year.
Yeah.
Probably less.
Yeah, less than that. I figure like he can carry this company tomorrow if given the ball. Like he already gets it. He don't have to find the hard camera. He don't have to do nothing. Like this guy, he could be on the main roster if they wanted to go that route. But I think this is going to help him a lot more. Yeah, Phil, you described Punk. Punk has done it on both sides. Like he felt like he was held down by WWE and he felt like he was held down by AEW. So like for him to come in with that ammo and that blueprint, and Punk has talked highly about Ricky Starks, so Ricky Starks can go to him, get advice. We already know his relationship with Cody. Like AEW, the fact that they never, like, when's the last time they mentioned Ricky Starks? The fact that they kind of just went lights out with them. We don't know him. We're not going to mention him, is going to come back to bite them just because of exactly what you're saying. Now, every single accomplishment Ricky Starks has in WWE, people are going to be like, see, they were holding him down. He was fumbled over here. Now he's excelling. Now he's doing this over here. Everything
is going to be I told you so now.
Yep.
And I don't want to get into whether he was fumbled or not, but I do think trying to ice him in the way that they did, I think it's going to blow up in their face. The same way that it ended up blowing up in WWE's face with Pac and trying to have him sit at home, and then he left and started having the big matches in his home country, went to AEW. And we've seen this so many times in wrestling of someone going somewhere and the perception is that they're being held down. As soon as he leaves, this helps their career. This makes them into a bigger
Drew
deal.
McIntyre, same thing. Bobby Lashley. Yeah. Like we can say so many names that
it's happened so many times, and that's why I don't see this going anywhere but up for him, because I do think he's going to be champion. I do think he's going to eventually be NXT champion, and then from there you can move him up to the main roster and do whatever. But the fact that their audience already knows him, the fact that there's so many people that were waiting for him to come over.
Yeah. We've been talking about this since last year's Royal Rumble, dog. Last year's Royal Rumble, they were like, "Oh, this guy's here. I hope that he ends up here." Or what's he doing back here? So much talk surrounding it. There's the video of him celebrating at WrestleMania. Like there's already lore and things built around Ricky Stark being over here. You got video footage of him and shit already.
There's ready-made things you can do with him already. There's stuff with Cody you can do. There's so many things you can do. The fact that the wrestlers were already so happy for him coming over as well, because he's got relationships with so many people over there. Yeah. I mean, look, perception isn't always reality. I'm sure there's more to this Ricky stuff than meets the eye. But currently, that doesn't matter because the perception is that he was being mistreated and he was being held down. And so now he's out of there. People are going to be like, yes, I'm so glad he's back on TV and he's where he wants to be. Yeah.
It's because AEW is going to run into this issue, Phil, of like, the story doesn't matter what he did in AEW now. He's gone. He's moved on. He's won in the eyes of blah, blah, blah. If AEW comes out and they like leak a story or something, they're like, actually, this guy was a big dick. This is all the reasons why he fucked everything up. It's just going to look bad at them again. They have to just move on now. And like,
we've seen it. We've seen them attempt to do that, and it doesn't work because it just makes you look petty. It backfires. That's why I'm like, this was the best thing to do. Let him go and just move on. Mm-hmm. You had no plan for him. You weren't using him on TV. Just let him go.
They served him up on a platter though, man. Fuck. I'm like, how did you watch WrestleMania last year and watch Cody win the big one and all that build up, and then I'm not saying Ricky Starks is Cody Rhodes, but like you're setting them up with a big superstar that you kind of built in your company. You know what I mean? It's just like so interesting.
Yeah, and I'm sure that plays into the way that he was released, the way that Miro was released, because this has blown up in their face where somebody else has left, and look where they are. Cody is champion, main evented 3 WrestleManias.
That sounds crazy.
And so, 2-time Royal Rumble winner already, and that happened really fast. And they're showing already they've got this pipeline bringing AEW guys in and giving them the red carpet treatment. So, I get it, and I think that also leads me to one of the things that I thought when I saw all of this. Not just that, okay, this was announced after Royal Rumble, but I was surprised we didn't see Rey Fenix as one of these guys that were released.
Super surprised.
So that leads me to believe other things. When you look at the way Penta's booked, no, I'm not about to just give you Rey on a platter. No.
Yep.
Why?
Now that I'm seeing it, because all day Monday I was like, oh, I'm waiting for them to also say Phoenix. I would expect at this point if they're releasing guys that quote unquote don't want to be here, like he feels like it. But no, the way that they're presenting Penta and the merch and all this and acting like he's the next second coming of Rey Mysterio, like I'm not about to give you guys his brother so it could be even higher heights.
No. We already know you're probably going to have Ricky soon. Wouldn't be surprised if Alistair's back over there very soon. I'm not about to just hand you both of the Lucha Bros.
No.
And this guy, his contract's not up soon. No. I would bet. Now, that doesn't mean he might not eventually get released, but I can see them staggering this. Like, I'm not about to just release all these guys at the same time.
Mm-hmm. We're into some crazy grounds with these AEW releases now, Phil, because we've been seeing WWE releases for a long time, and like that's comes with the territory. But now we're gonna start to get situations where the next fucking day they can show up on TV. That's crazy.
Well, that comes with the territory now when there's competition, because we saw this exact same thing with WCW, where once the pipeline started of people coming back, you saw what happened. I mean, X-Pac famously coming back, cutting their promo on TV, on Bischoff and WCW. I think we're going to see more people unhappy with their situation in AEW making a jump. And I mean, that was inevitable. We already knew that was coming after Cody was the first guy to make a jump. We knew it was coming, but I think we're going to see more and more of it, because that's just what it is now when you have 2 major companies. It's a good and bad problem to have. You have more places for the wrestlers to work, but also there's stuff between there that it's a slippery slope, man. It's a slippery slope on
there
both
are
sides.
more places to work, but then like when WWE's the hottest it's been in a long time, possibly ever, people are gonna want to work for that, and they're gonna look the best in people's eyes, and people are gonna aim to do that. So things are gonna start to just move so differently now, man. It's crazy.
And if you're frustrated, if you're somebody that's frustrated with your current situation and you see how other people are going over there and immediately being booked, I'm out of here. I'm about to try to get out of here.
They laid out the fucking red carpet for Cody. He's about to main event his third fucking WrestleMania. They're acting like he is the fucking biggest star. Like, if that's what I can get, I'm probably gonna look over there. If the beach looks like it's fucking cold water and great drinks, like, give me one.
All right, you look at people that have made the jump so far. A lot of Cody guys.
A lot of Cody guys.
Sean Spears, Ethan Page, Cody guys. Jade.
What's up with
Ricky?
Why they do QT like that?
We want guys that we can work into our current system. Hey, you want to work backstage? No? Okay, well, we'll let you know when we can find something.
Okay, well,
I'm telling you, man, bro, get in the call like the We Good call, and Cody's like, look, man, I just got Jade in, I just got Sean in, bro. We're holding down this spot. I don't know if I can get you in. I just got 3 in. I don't know, dog. I don't know if I could call it another favor, dog.
I'm holding out the spot for Ricky too. Like, I don't know. Like, if I do that, then that's gonna complicate that. Like, I'm not,
dog. And that's the other thing that's interesting. We're talking about making phone calls, dog. I absolutely believe that Ricky was making calls, and they were like, "No, listen, just finish up your contract. We got a spot. Don't worry about it. Finish up. Just finish up your time over there. Somebody, whether it be Cody, and like I said, he's been saying for the longest, hey, I like CM Punk. CM Punk has been going hard for him. As soon as he left, CM Punk liking all of the IG tweets saying, congrats, bro. They probably were like, no, listen, dog. Just finish your time up. Don't worry about it. We got a spot for you.
And he got to have 2 very distinctively different conversations, I'm sure. Because Cody was like, it's great. I'm the world champion. You don't even need to tell you with Cody. You could just see it. And then you talk to Punk, and he's like, oh, yeah.
Listen, water's warm over here, dog.
We're having a great time over here, brother.
What's the what's the DJ drama on Tyler? We over here with our shoes off. We're wearing sandals with no socks, and we eating vanilla ice cream.
Yes, dog. So, like, I mean, if your homeboys are having a good time and you're doing the Squidward on SpongeBob meme when your homies are outside having a good time, you want to go outside too, dog. I see you. I feel you. We saw how great of a time he was having when he was over there. So this is not surprising. I just didn't think AEW was going to lay it out on the platter like that. That's it. That's all. The homie Jonathan Contreras says, so Aleister Black and Rusev Day in WWE win. I don't know if.
I think we're going to see Aleister Black for sure. I think he's definitely going back. And I've seen people in the chat, by the way, say that he had the 2-year option and AEW just didn't pick up the option. That's what it was.
Okay.
So that's where the 2027 came in. Tony just didn't pick up the option. I definitely think Aleister's moving back to WWE. I think it was very clear when they announced that his wife was going to SmackDown, and they made a point of announcing that Selena was going to SmackDown. I was like, why are they doing that? So I would not be surprised at all if we see Aleister Black on SmackDown soon. Miro is more of a question mark. I'm going to throw this one at you, and this is kind of controversial, but it's in the same vein of the Ricky stuff. Are you surprised we did not see Britt as one of these releases?
No, I'm not surprised because I feel like there's people in AEW who still feel like there's something to do with Britt. I feel like they still feel like there's people there that like think Britt's run has some legs. But then also on the other side, I think they're just icing her out like Ricky Starks too. So I don't know. Like I feel like I don't know anything, but it feels like she's getting iced out, right?
Britt is on that list of people that I don't think that they want to release because they know she would end up over there.
She's going to be bigger star in WWE, I think. So, I
don't know if I would say that. But, and I'm not saying that to say, because I know that report was around at one point that she was talking to somebody over that. I don't know that to be true, but I'm just saying off the fact of what could be a bigger get for WWE than getting the first woman ever signed to this company, being the original face of your women's division, and being able to pluck her out and put her on your product. WWE would absolutely see that as a big W, and I think Tony knows that, and that's why I think that she wasn't released. All of the stuff around her is still very strange. The fact that we haven't seen her on TV, the fact that they've started booking certain feuds and then abruptly they just cut it short and then she disappeared from TV again. It's been a real roller coaster since she came back in June. I don't know what any of that means. I don't know when we'll see Britt again, but it's starting to feel more and more like that division has outgrown her.
Oh, yeah.
Because before, when she was developing into the face of the company and she had become the biggest star in the division, there was no one really there to oppose her. And now, with what Tony's doing, and Tony can do the character stuff, she can do the promos, and she can wrestle better than Britt. You have Mercedes there, and Mercedes may not be able to talk as well as Britt, but she can wrestle circles around her. You've got so many other people coming in. You got people coming in currently or that are there that I think they aren't even utilizing. Like Queen Aminata is just there, bro. Queen Aminata could be out of here, bro, if they wanted. You're just bringing in Megan Bain. Statlander's coming into her own again. I think that the division is outgrown.
Shit, not for that. Mariah May is insane on the mic and in the ring. Like when you compare to these people, you're like,
bro, Jamie Hayter. Like you've got so many names currently that I'm not sure how she still fits in. And with everything that's being reported, that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't know how much longer her time at AEW is going to last.
Okay, I guess along those lines, do you think this is it for the releases? Because it was only 3. It was just this week. Do you think there could be more coming?
No, I definitely think there'll be more releases. That's why I said I was surprised I didn't see Ray, and I feel like they're probably going to stagger it. I think Ray Phoenix is eventually going to be released. I just think maybe they didn't want to do it at the same time as some of these other releases.
I just think there's some people back there that I'm like, oh, that could be, like, that thing could be coming. It just feels like there's more coming, and I hope that everything's all good. It's a crazy-ass time right now. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that we're talking about potentially them releasing Britt Baker is insane. I mean, where Britt was at one point in this division, what she meant to this company, what in some ways she still means to this company. I'm just not sure what to make of the current state of events with her. I don't get it.
Phil, I remember seeing there would be some Dynamite shows that start, and as soon as they're like, welcome to Dynamite, all you hear is DMD chants in the crowd. There was times when the crowd was like, we love Britt Baker. She's our number one person here. She was like one of the faces of this brand for a while. And so go from that to like, we're discussing her potentially being released is crazy. Because I thought that by now she'd be a couple of times AEW World Champion. This is hers getting to her, leading the way, still being the face of this, the women's division in AEW. So this is also interesting.
Yes. There are a few people that, of course, I don't want to, try to predict releases because, of course, I don't want to try to predict someone losing their job. But I don't think this is it for releases. I definitely think there'll be more.
Mm-hmm. Same here. And like, I'm waiting for Phoenix every day, honestly.
Yeah.
Not that I think he should or want him to, but I'm like, with how things are going, I couldn't imagine he's going to be there much longer.
Yeah, the Miro thing, it kind of felt like it was inevitable. I mean,
what about that news this week of he thought that him and CJ were going to be, after CJ showed up, that he thought that was going to be a thing, but he's like the only one in the world that thought that was going to be a thing because none of us thought that was going to be a thing.
I like Miro a lot, man.
Me
Great
too.
wrestler. Very funny guy. His online presence, he's very funny. And man, when he was cooking in AEW, it was hidden.
That shit was hot. Yeah, Redeemer shit, fire.
But man, buddy, that stuff he was doing with CJ was not good, dog.
We don't want that.
It's not good. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. I get it. Like I get bro was trying to get his wife on the road, trying to save his marriage, but bro, that wasn't it.
And there was a moment where he was one of the hottest guys in the company. People were loving him as doing all this shit, the Redeemer shit. Like I was saying, he came through, but like, yeah, no, nobody wanted that, Miro. I fucks with you heavy. We all fucks with you heavy. That wasn't what we wanted with your character, dog.
No. I just can't see how the stuff with Lana was booked in WWE. That fan base wanting to see Miro and CJ together. No.
We don't want this, Miro. We're interested in seeing her on the show. I think there's a place for her, but like with you and doing the thing, nah, not really the vibe.
No, I'm good. But yeah, hopefully everything works out with Miro. I know that he had some injury stuff. I'm not sure if he's cleared to wrestle again. There's so much mystery surrounding Miro. Yeah, there are multiple reports out there. I don't know how much of it is true, but yeah, just it felt inevitable after a while.
I don't know, but I have heard some things about all these wrestlers released, and just interesting. That's what I'll say. I don't know what's rumors, what innuendo, but like all these people weren't having a good time. Let's just say that. So I think this is the best for those three guys specifically.
Nothing I feel comfortable talking about on this podcast.
No.
That I am not certain it's just a rumor. Absolutely not. But yeah, wish the best for all of these folks. I think Ricky's going to do just fine. I think Alistair will end up back over there. Miro's still a question mark. I don't know.
A lot of people this week were like, we just don't know if Miro likes wrestling at this point. And I'm like, yeah, agreed. I don't know. We just kind of don't really know where his headspace is.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm saying I hope that he's doing well, because that's a lot to go through. Because at one point, the report was that he went back to Bulgaria and that he wasn't doing well. He was injured. Then he had the divorce stuff going on. It's just a lot to be going through. So hopefully just on a personal level, he's doing all right.
Yeah, more than anything, because shit, that's a lot to take on.
Yeah. But yeah, what a unexpected train of events coming into Monday with the releases. And shortly after the WWE releases, that was like a week in between both of these. And then you get these releases, and then Ricky's on NXT within 24 hours. Wild
What
timeline.
A crazy timeline. I can't believe it. I mean, I guess it's good for the pro wrestling business. It's just adding that unpredictability thing. It's adding that excitement of we never know what's going to happen. But I'm sure it's pretty stressful for these wrestlers.
Yes. And then you got this TNA stuff happening at the same time. Jordan is signed with WWE. We're getting the news this week that Josh Alexander, free agent. The report at this point is that he could be heading to AEW. I know that there was a tweet at one point from Jordan, see you over here. So it's still in the air. I don't know. He could end up in WWE. Personally, for my taste in wrestling and what I would like to see him doing, I would rather him go somewhere else.
It feels like by his own, I've listened to an interview where he was talking about he was supposed to go to NXT and then somebody put the kibosh on it. It feels like something's going on there and it's weird. So I want to see him in AEW because it sounds like they're not expecting him in NXT. Yeah.
I did not hear this. Oh, no. Wow.
Yeah, he said he was set up to go and somebody over there was like, nah. So I don't know what that means. And like Josh Alexander, dog, he's a fucking hooper, brother. I'm talking about an all-timer. What's going on here? But I mean, as far as me wanting to see some shit, like I definitely would prefer him in AEW. So
yes, the idea of Josh Alexander in a G1 or doing other things, buddy.
Goddamn Continental Classic at this point. Shit.
Bro, Josh in a Continental Classic, bro.
Man.
I would love to see that. So just for my personal taste in wrestling and just how good this guy is in ring, I personally would prefer to see him somewhere else.
And I just love people that we thought that his career was over. We thought he was down and out. He came back and reinvented himself in TNA and became one of their greatest wrestlers of all time. And he's set up to do some great things beyond this. I'm really excited about his future. He's amazing.
Yeah. Very interested to see where he ends up. We got the great news this week. Happy birthday to Chris Bay. But he dropped that update that he was able to get up and start walking around.
Thank God.
Very happy to see that. He put out his statement about his current status and his health. Whether he can wrestle again, that's secondary to me. I just want to see this guy have a good quality of life and find some normalcy again. So I, was very, very relieved to see that video. Great for him, man. Well wishes to him, and continue to send this guy the support. He needs it. This is gonna be a tough road, and best wishes to him with the rest of his recovery.
Yeah, shout out to the homie CB. Seeing that video this week was amazing. Looked in good spirits. He's talking in good spirits. This is so happy and refreshing to see after some unpredictable and times that we didn't really know what was going on. So to see him in this position is scary times, super scary times. To see him in this is great. Like Phil said, he's going to continue to need support moving forward. These are some hard moving times going forward, but I think with support and life and family, things are going to get better for CB. Very excited to see him in this position. Sending love out to him and his fam.
Yeah, that very much felt good to see that.
Telling you, good news this week right there.
Yeah. Sometimes we need a little good news out there. There's a lot of negative stuff in the news cycle right now.
Jesus Christ! Every time I open my phone, it's something.
Yeah, I mean, not even just on political stuff. I saw that clip the other day of Wendy Williams at that window screaming, and she's like in the conservatorship, and it's like, God, what's going on?
Bro, she's fighting with her son. Yeah, she's fighting with her son about something. They keep trying to say she has dementia. The people holding over him. It feels like Britney Spears situation. She's acting like she's not as crazy as they're saying. I'm like, this is not good. And then seeing that video, I was like, okay, get us out the group chat, I think, Doug. I don't need to see Wendy Williams banging on this window trying to get out of this.
Yeah, very, very uncomfortable. If you have had a family that's dealt with dementia or Alzheimer's, it's very, very challenging. It's very hard to deal with, and that's really grim stuff to see.
Mm-hmm. Especially a personality like Wendy Williams, who's so out there and up, and we've known her to be something, and for her to be locked into this is insane. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I'm almost sorry I brought it up because it's like, but that's what I mean. It's just so much news out there that's very heavy. Yeah. So, yeah, it was very good to see Chris Bay with some good news.
Yes. Yes.
You have any more super chats? Of course, again, best way to get your chats read on the air is
no extra super chats at this time.
Okay. We do have some humper chats left over. Got one from D-Lo Diggs. He says, man, the fact that being said that K-Dot was mid needs therapy. Also, I will say it till it happens. Fire that bum Nico Harrison. Also, tons of wrestling from the BMW, AEW, NXT. Hit the Kendrick shuffle steps. Let's crank. Yeah. It's going to be scary times out there for Nico. I saw where he had to go and hire security. They are going to run this guy out of Dallas, man.
He just keeps getting people thrown out of the game. That's his way to every time somebody says to fire him, he just kicks him out of the game, and then Mark Cuban brings him back. I'm like, I don't think this is a really good strategy, dude.
Yeah, it just continues to look away when you see some of these videos of how LeBron is hanging out with Luka, and they're now best buddies. That clip of Luka throwing the ball on a fast break, and he's looking like this is where he always wanted to be. I'm like, I don't know, guys. This definitely looks away.
Remember,
this
Phil,
looks away.
This is the guy that they said didn't know about this trade. I'm like, the way that I've been seeing LeBron cheese in the last 2 weeks, fuck you.
This definitely looks away, man. I don't know, but hey, look. I hope it works out for Luka. I get the Lakers trying to get a piece for the future of their teams because LeBron's not going to play forever. He's got maybe 2-3 more years, and 3 might be stretching it. And so you got to start planning for the future. But, man, Luka looks so happy, man. And this doesn't look like a guy that was completely crestfallen for this thing, and this came out of nowhere. And LeBron looks happy again. This don't look like a guy that they just threw on him, that the second best player on his team that he had this friendship with got traded. This all looks very weird, man. It looks very, very weird.
Luka's taking a victory lap. He's like, yeah, it was kind of wild how it went down, but I get to go to LA and play for the most famous basketball team of all time. I think things are pretty okay for me. I think I'm gonna have a good time playing with LeBron and fucking LeBron Jr. Dog, what do you? I think
Bro,
things are gonna end up pretty okay for him.
Ronnie shared that picture with Luka behind him. Like, bro, this looks crazy, man. It looks so crazy, bro.
But you know, LeBron is at home. Like, I got you for the. Don't worry about me. I'm gonna retire, but I got somebody for you, Bronny. I got Luka coming to play with you. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. That part, Patrick. This guy does not look out of shape at all. I don't know what they were talking about.
Dallas got to be eating some crow right now. Like, what the fuck were y'all talking about? This guy's having a great time over here. Y'all inspire. If he was all those things, this thing motivated him to fuck y'all up. So I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Very, very telling that a lot of people in this organization are basically like, not it. Every time it's brought up. No, I have nothing to do with that. That's all. That's all Nick. That had nothing to do with me. Wasn't me. That video of Jason Kidd talking about it, he's like, I had nothing to do with that. No, don't put that on me.
They're all acting like they found out when we did. That's what they all say. No, I found out with y'all. Shit, I'm just as surprised as you are. All right, okay.
But see, I buy that. I buy that Jason Kidd didn't know, because that's a wild trade. Look, we're going to trade our best player. Like, what do you mean? What are we doing?
That is probably something you would keep Jason Kidd out of, I think, if anything. Hey, we're trading your best player away. What do you think about this?
Yeah. The fact that so many other people around us are like, nope, that was Nico. That had nothing to do with me. Nope, I wasn't there. Very strange trade. Still very, very strange. From Smiley BWR, she says, afternoon, boys. I hope y'all are well. It's snowing here. I'm hating every moment, but I'm getting ready to go do social media for Black Wrestling Matters show tonight. Should be fun. Hi, Reggie. I didn't realize that show was tonight.
Me neither. I don't be updated on anything these days because I'm off social media, but that's good to know. What's up, Tracy? I hope you have a good time out there. Love you, my friend.
Should be a good show tonight. Have fun. I'm used to snow at this point. I got up and shoveled the snow this morning. I was just like, yeah, it's that time of year.
I don't even know. Every time you say that, I'm like, like shoveling snow. What is that even? What life is that? I don't know. What kind of clothes do you wear? What boots are you wearing out there? I don't know anything about this.
Yeah. Stay warm, man. It's not that cold, so there's at least that.
Is it still coming down, or is it came down?
It snowed overnight. I don't know if it snowed again since this morning, but yeah, it's that time of year. It's February. We got maybe like a few more weeks of this. What homeboy punks to Tony Phil? Did he see his shadow? We got 6 more weeks of winter or what?
I don't know. I didn't see that. I missed that news cycle. 6 more weeks.
Yeah. We got last one from Tony P. He says, unfortunately for that person, he knew the guy was picking on was the school's main dealer and a member of the crew. And yeah, they did fuck up the guy that was picking on him, like the old days goes. Looks can be deceiving. What is this in reference to, Tony? What's going on?
What was this last super chat about? Because I'm lost.
Wait. Is there something that got cut off before that?
He's like, yeah, and then they did beat his ass, actually.
What is that in reference to, dog? What? I don't know what that's in reference to, Tony. I think your Hoper chat before that got cut off.
Mm-hmm. Send it again somewhere, Tony. Tony.
But that's all of our Humper chats for now. We've got a few developments from SmackDown last night. Like I said, Jacob will not be in the Elimination Chamber. What do you call it? There was a few things that are in the development for WrestleMania. We don't. We got the Charlotte thing. Did you see this?
I did not see this. I heard about the match, but I didn't see what she did.
So Tiffany Straton had the Nia match last night. It was a DQ finish. Nia continued to attack Tiffany after the match. Her and Candice were beating up on her. And then all of a sudden we get the Charlotte Flair music. Charlotte basically just strolls down to the ring at her pace. And she then goes and gets a chair and sits over Tiffany and goes, Tiffy, wake up, Tiffy. Wake up. Open your eyes, Tiffy. It's Tiffy time. And then she gets right over her. I'm challenging you. See you at WrestleMania.
This seems hella awkward.
But it's so Charlotte because Charlotte is doing her voice like she was doing with the uh-oh. So I thought all of this was very funny. But I mean, we all pretty much figured that was going to be the match. I didn't think they were going to run back the Rhea match this soon. No. This is the match we wanted to see with Tiffany Straton. But Charlotte's so funny, man. The queen chooses you.
Of course, this is how she makes her mark. This is how she does her thing. But yeah, this is kind of what we felt like the match would be. Tiffany's been even before Charlotte came back, it was always well, she's going to eventually have this big match with Charlotte. I didn't think it was going to be a big WrestleMania match, but good for her. Hopefully Charlotte doesn't fucking run her over.
Yeah, it seems like we're potentially getting Trish versus Tiffany Straton at Elimination Chamber, which in Toronto, that makes sense. And man, shout out to Trish. Every time Trish comes back, she keeps proving there's a reason why I'm a legend. She came in that era where wrestling wasn't put at the forefront for the women. Right. And she's continued to show that in this era, she can't go. She can't go with the women in this generation. So, man, good for her. I think her versus Tiffy, that can be a big match for Tiffany Straton because I do think that now that the match is announced, I do think she's going to lose at WrestleMania, unfortunately. Shit. So, at least she's getting some good matches and some good moments ahead of time. I think having that match with Trish can be a big notch in her belt heading into WrestleMania. But, yeah, Big Charlotte has made it official. Her opponent is going to be Tiffany Straton in the most Charlotte way possible. And this was the other point I was saying right after Royal Rumble. I knew once they got into the storyline, it would be fine because people want to boo her. And so, all right, just play this up, be a heel. We'll be fine. Don't try to get sympathy in the meantime. Just get to it.
Yeah, that those moments where she was trying to get to telling the story were a little too much. And it's like, Charlotte, these people want to boo you, so just embrace that more. You're trying to do this. I'm happy to be back, happy to be here. And people ain't trying to hear that shit. We want to hear you shit on somebody. We want to hear you call yourself the queen. We want to hear you be the person we know you are. And so for her to do that, and it's going to get Tiffany to be even a bigger baby face, I think it's the right move for her.
Yeah. And actually, my mistake. Trish and Tiffany will be tagging against Nia.
Oh, okay.
And Charlotte at Elimination Chamber. That's the match, which kind of makes sense. I think this turn has kind of been weird. The shift from Tiffany being a heel to turning her face is kind of interesting, but
I understand why they're doing it. She was getting too huge of pops to not just be straight up heel, but the transition has been a little bit interesting.
Yeah, no, she was too over at this point. People didn't want to boo her, and you're putting her in a feud with Charlotte. They're not going to boo her.
Right.
But biggest talking point I saw out of this stuff from Friday is the revelation, it seems, that we have our first big clue to who done it was Jade Cargill, because Nick Aldis called Bianca and Naomi into his office, and he showed the footage of Liv and Raquel walking away, and Bianca and Naomi immediately was like, it was them. I knew it was them all along. And Nick's just looking around like, well, wait a minute. I never said it was them. But she was like, no, look, they're there. And so there's two ways to look at this. Maybe it's them, but that would be an awful anticlimactic ending to this.
Yeah.
To just get to this point and it's just Liv and Raquel that did it. I have to assume if Liv and Raquel did it, they would have been gloating about this all this time. I don't buy this at all. I feel like this is obviously a red herring, which leads me to believe, because Naomi was like, see, I didn't do it. And she immediately was like, see, y'all owe me an apology. This is the first time in all of this that I kind of believe Bianca did it.
Bianca did it. I might be under the impression of nobody did it and Jade's tricking everybody, because it makes more sense for Jade to be healed, though. You know what I mean?
That was my initial thought when this first happened. I was like, oh, I don't think anybody did this. I think Jade is playing everybody. I think Jade did the thin line between love and hate. She injured herself, and nobody did it. This is Jade turning heel, and it could still be that, but there's certain things that are happening here that it makes me feel like Bianca did it. I'm not sure, but I think the fact that it's still in question is so interesting.
I like that turn if she did do it. You know what I mean? Because I think that adds an extra element to interesting element to Bianca.
Yes, but man, because I think a Bianca heel turn would be great. Yeah, but this was the first time watching this that I thought, okay, there's a good chance Bianca could have done this. But there's still so much we don't know with the Jade stuff. We don't know when she's going to be ready to come back. I thought it would be at Royal Rumble. Didn't show up at Royal Rumble. But now, man, there's still so many questions around this. Of course, everybody is still on poor Naomi. They're like, no, Naomi did this. But I just don't know, man. I don't know if I buy Naomi turning heel. I think there's a bigger chance of either Bianca and Jade turning.
The same here. Yeah, I think it makes sense for one or the other two, Jade or Bianca, to do it over Naomi. And Naomi, the place that she's playing in the story leads me to believe that too.
Yes, because it's always kind of been between Bianca and Jade.
Right.
We've said from the beginning, if this is the big three comparison, Naomi is J. Cole. This has always been about those two. He's just in the middle.
But on the flip side, Naomi benefited from Jade being out. She got the championship. Like, they're telling a good story for you to believe that she could have done it.
Yes. I think the idea of Bianca being a heel is very interesting. They're also doing this interesting thing with Rhea, where I thought that Io versus Rhea was going to be the WrestleMania match. But they made the announcement that Io is going to be getting the match after Elimination Chamber with Rhea, which is a choice. So that brings into question, is Io versus Rhea still going to be the WrestleMania match? And if that's not the WrestleMania match, what is? And now, if Jade's not ready and Bianca is revealed as the person that did this,
you can do Io. Yeah.
You can do Rhea versus Bianca at WrestleMania.
And that's heat.
Yes. I feel like that's the bigger match. That's the match we've been trying to get to for almost 2 years at this point now. And so I get it, but I don't know, man. Personally, like I said, I would love a Bianca heel turn. I'm just not so sure they're going to pull the trigger on it, especially with the way she's used. She just feels like one of those baby faces right now where they're making so much money on. They're doing all the PR and stuff around her. So I'm not sure if I buy it, but personally, just how good she worked as a heel on NXT, I would like to see it on the main roster.
Yeah, I feel like they need to try something out with her one time at least, you know what I mean, to see how the water goes. And I just think she would play such a great character, but I totally understand if they don't.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do the Rhea and Bianca match, though, she has to be a heel at this point because Rhea is insanely over. I don't see people cheering Bianca over Rhea at this point. I think you gotta make a change. And personally, for my taste, I would prefer to see Io versus Rhea at WrestleMania, but they've been trying to get to this match for so long. I wouldn't be surprised if this is where we're going.
Shucky Ducky sends in a super chat. He says Raquel and Liv teased on Royal Rumble watch along that it was them.
I know. It just that just feels so anticlimactic to have this thing lingering for so long, and it was just them. That'd be a boring ending.
Yeah, it doesn't hit the same as one of the other two turning. You know what I mean? Like that. That feels like a longer term story to tell. Like it is just kind of over if it's like Liv and Raquel did it. All right. and then she comes back and they beat him, and then it doesn't really matter, you know?
Yeah, I do think we're going to get the tag match, and I would not be surprised at all if Raquel and Liv beat them for the tag belts, because it just feels like this lines up. There's so many things you can do with Liv and Raquel as a tag team. Even if you're getting to the Alexa match, you can do Alexa with a partner versus them. I personally think it should be Nikki Cross, because what is Nikki Cross doing anyway? Just put that tag team back together.
There's a lot of ways they could go for the women's matches at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Very surprising that they've dragged this out as long as it did. But it feels like it's going to play into WrestleMania in some way. It has to, right?
I would think so. It thinks like they've been telling it for so long. They want to have something good for Jade, unless she's going to be out beyond that. But it feels like that's what this is.
If it doesn't lead to Jade's return before that, it has to play into whatever Bianca's doing at WrestleMania, if I had to guess.
Right. Yeah. What about Naomi? You think that they'll just leave her out, or do you think that this could lead to a tag title match still?
That I'm not sure of. I'm very curious as to how these women's mid-card titles are going to figure into WrestleMania season, because it feels like you could have something there. I think the clear option is to have Naomi versus Chelsea by then.
Yeah. Depending on what they do with the tag belts then, because if they just put them on Raquel and Liv, which I guess they could do, that's the way to get it off of them, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've said before, Intercontinental title should be moved into whatever they're doing with Bayley and Roxanne. It just makes all the sense in the world.
Bayley as Intercontinental Champion hits pretty hard, I think.
Yeah. Also, what Roxanne represents, technical wrestler, history of technical wrestlers with that belt, just makes all the sense in the world.
That's going to be good. Because it seems like they keep teasing Bayley and Roxanne. They have the match tonight. Like, I feel like they're going to tell more story leading into WrestleMania with that.
Yeah. Get into show we have tonight. Pretty exciting show in Australia. A lot of extracurriculars with people not knowing how to watch this thing, when to watch it. A lot of miscommunications, but AEW Grand Slam Australia seems like a good card based on well, let me get the card in front of me and not on Wikipedia because it's trying to spoil it from me. I do not want to be spoiled, Wikipedia, and whoever edited Wikipedia early.
Yeah, suck it, Wikipedia person.
But yeah, AEW Grand Slam will be coming to you not live, pre-recorded. That's why there are spoilers in the wild already, because it took place already, I believe, at 3 this morning, my time. But we will be getting it pre-taped right after the All-Star Weekend festivities tonight, which I believe is 9:30 my time.
That's what I wanted to look and see what time of the All-Star stuff happens.
Yeah, so Grand Slam will be taking place at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time. So immediately after All-Star Saturday night.
Oh, nice. 7:30 Pacific, they said?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was right, 9:30 my time. But straight away, we've got the card in front of me. We've got the Dream Team, what some people have dubbed Omega Powers, of Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, taking on the Don Callis family, Konosuke Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher. Very excited for this match. The build for this has been incredible. Hoping to see these guys put on a big match here. Very excited also to see the reception for Kyle Fletcher in his home country. I'm sure he's going to get a big pop.
Yeah, Fletcher's homecoming and what he's done the last year in establishing himself and getting this match, I think is going to be a big thing. Seeing Kenny and Ospreay work together, seeing how Kenny, because this is Kenny's third match back. He still hasn't had that many matches. Seeing him mix it up, see how he's still moving Osprey's big match, Osprey, so he's always going to do it. And like you said, Takeshita's been on absolute tear. This feels like a great way to showcase all these guys, and I'm really excited about this match. A potential to be match of the night, but like saying that is even funny because, like, of course.
Yes. We also got the Brisbane Brawl tag match. The Death Riders will be taking on the team of Cope and Jay White. Still funny seeing Cope on things. Haven't quite gotten used to it. But, man, I have to say, as much as we've been down on the Death Rider stuff, I think the last 2 weeks of Dynamite, the Death Rider segments have been better. Yes. It seems like they are taking the hint from some of the online criticism and they're making changes. Because at least the way they started the show this week and some of the stuff they've done recently is better. I still don't know about this whole beating the briefcase thing.
Silly.
But I think overall, I think it's been better across the board. We officially got the announcement that Mox versus Cope will be the Revolution match, which I don't think anybody's really surprised by that.
Whoa, yeah, so excited about that match. That's crazy. Now, I think that this is fun for this show because you want to get these guys on the show, of course. And having like a street fight type brawl or whatever they're calling it, I think is going to be a good appetite, a good way to kind of add variety to this show, too. You want to have all these dudes in there, have them going through the crowd, getting mixed up in that. This could be really fun. It's still, like you said, interesting seeing Cope, the name, and the wrestler involved in these things. So I'm hoping that they have a good match here because they need to tie some loose ends. But the thing from this week with him being like, I'm going to show I appreciate the AEW championship by hitting it with this nail board thing. Interesting one.
Yeah. Are we supposed to believe that the belt is not in the briefcase and it was never there in the first place? I don't. I wasn't the biggest fan of that. And I thought Dynamite on the whole was really good. I think Collision for the past few weeks has also been very good. And I also like the idea going into Grand Slam, which is a Collision episode, and booking the guys that we're using for this. Jay White was a fixture in Collision from day one. And Cope, when he came over, he was doing a lot of stuff on Collision. So I think that this is the right pairing of people for the show.
Mm-hmm. It is. This is going to be, I mean, people are going to go ham for Cope out there, regardless of how we've been feeling and talking about him recently.
Yeah, absolutely. Copeland in Australia, they're absolutely going to go nuts for him. Mox is Mox still. People are going to go up for this match. And hopefully,
who's going over?
And we didn't talk about that in the first match. I think that Osprey and Omega are going to win that match. To set up Kenny versus Takeshita for Revolution.
Yes.
This match is kind of a coin toss. I want to say that the baby faces are going to win here, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Death Riders win.
I'm choosing Death Riders because they already announced the match. Like, I feel like if we were going to win this match and then Cope was like, let me get the match at Revolution, then they were going to win. But since they already announced the match, I feel like the Death Riders are going to beat them for some reason.
That's kind of what I think as well. I think the Death Riders are going to win. I don't see out of both of these tag teams the baby faces coming in and winning both. And I definitely think Osprey and Omega are going to win.
Same.
So I don't know that I buy that Cope and Jay White are going to win. I unfortunately think that Jay is here to take the pin.
Me too. Every time Cope is like buttering him up, talking guys, so I'm like, he's just buttering him up for that pin, brother.
Yeah. We got a Continental Championship match. Kazuchika Okada will be taking on Buddy Matthews. Very excited to see Buddy on this card. Last time we saw Buddy in his home country, he's winning the Cruiserweight Championship a few years ago. So I think he's going to go up in this match. Buddy, when given opportunity, has been great. He's had some strong matches, and it's Okada. So I figure this should be a great match.
Yeah, I'm excited about Buddy he's always, anytime he talks about who he is and what he represents and what he wants to do moving forward, being put in positions like this is what he always brings up. He's like, I want to have the big matches. I want to be in there with the Okadas. I want to be that guy. I want to establish myself as more than what people think they are. And I think this is that one of those matches to do that. Okada out of the country and somewhere else, that energy, he always just brings something extra and special that you cannot deny. I feel like he's going to be on another level in this and beat Buddy Matthews here in this show.
Yeah, definitely think that Okada's going to win, but this should be a fun match.
Yeah, super fun.
At this point, all of this is just borrowed time before we get to Kenny versus Okada at this point. That has to be the end goal to all of this. Even the Takeshita and Omega stuff. The end goal here is to get to Okada versus Omega.
We're all just teasing that. Everything Kenny's doing here is just laying the foundation, planting seeds to get to Okada. That's what we all want. That's what we all need.
Yes. AEW TBS Championship will be on the line. Mercedes will be taking on hot up-and-comer Harley Cameron. I was very skeptical when it seemed like they were building towards this match initially because I was just looking like, I don't know, guys. Mercedes is clicking on all cylinders. She's been having incredible matches. You want to do a Harley match now? You're in Australia. This is a big stage, but all credit due to both Harley and AEW. They've done a fantastic job of building this match and getting us interested in it, getting the fan base behind Harley. We're at the point now where some people want Harley to win.
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot this week. I've been like, no, you guys, please relax. I understand. I like what you're saying. I like what you're doing. I think like having big moments and establishing people for the future is needed, but this isn't what we're doing here with Harley. I think getting to the match, having these great promos, having this feud with Mercedes is the win for her. Her winning the belt is not the way that we go, because then she has to carry that championship and wrestle and do all these things. And I just think that's not really her place right now. She's definitely improved. She's killing it. She's destroyed all of her promos. The promo this week with the half rap and the half serious thing, amazing work. But like, let's get real about this. Is Mercedes still doing this?
We've come full circle because we initially came on this podcast and said that we both hated this rap thing that she did before. And she is so hot right now that she made the rap thing work. She got a segment with the rapping and it hit. That's how a lot of
people were asking me about it like I was going to be mad. And I was like, no, it's pretty good.
No, it hit. I thought it was great how they did it. I thought the humor in it was great. The way she would like cut it, and then actually cut a real promo, and the promo was great.
Yeah.
Nah, she's killing it right now, man. Harley's been fantastic, multi-talented, doing a rap segment where she actually rapped well and is doing ventriloquism well. Incredible. She's been
multifaceted.
She's been great, but like you said, I do not believe that she's winning here. I think that it says a lot about what Mercedes has done for this division and what she's done as a heel that people want her to win. And I think that's the thing that people are looking past, because I've seen people that are like, oh, this is proof that Mercedes is not hitting as champion. No, it's the opposite. When you look at everybody that they've put against her, she's gotten you to want to root for the opposition. That's what she does as a heel. That's what she brings here. I mean, Harley said it in her promo. This is what she's done to elevate this division, that you've wanted everybody that she's in the ring with to succeed. You want them to not just win here, but go on to bigger things after this feud. So,
yep.
I think that says a lot for Mercedes, but I don't think that Harley's going to win here. What Harley represents, I get why people want her to win, but also what Mercedes is doing for the division. I don't think that Harley is ready for that responsibility. I don't think she's ready to take that spot. Going into Revolution and the big shows that you've got coming up, you want Mercedes, you want to build up to that next person that's going to be there. In my mind, I still think that that's going to be either Willow or Statlander.
Mm-hmm.
And because you've got built-in story with both of them. And so I don't think that you're going to bypass the story with them to give Harley the win after she's won one television match. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm like they're telling this story. The way that this match is built is she's never won a match, and then she won one match. I'm like, so she's only won one match, you guys. Why would you want her all of a sudden to become world champion? That really wouldn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, that's pretty much what I was trying to say. I think people think it's a diss when they're like, oh yeah, we want Mercedes to lose, we hate her, we blah blah blah. I'm like, no, that's the reason. Part of the reason you want her to lose is because she's so good. That's how you do this. That's what being a good heel is. That's what being a good foe is for the babyface that you want to go over. You have to have somebody that cares like that. And so Mercedes is going to continue to represent that. That's why I just don't think her time is up.
I don't either. I just don't see it. I just think you have so many other more compelling stories for the person that could come up and beat her. I mean, you have the looming threat of Athena coming up. Athena could potentially beat her. There's so many better options, I think, than Harley. And that's not a knock at Harley, because, again, she's been fantastic this year. Breakout star for this company. But I just don't think you can hotshot this thing after her winning one television match. I just don't think that makes sense. I think the moment is being able to challenge for this belt in her home country and getting to this point after she was an afterthought for a lot of people. People didn't think that she belonged in this scenario. I mean, this build has been such a triumph for her in AEW that they've managed to build a new star. And people saying you got to stick the landing by giving her the win. No, giving her the match and getting her to the point. They've stuck the landing. The fact that you believe in her, they've already stuck the landing.
Exactly. I'm like, all of this getting to the match and having the match is the landing. That is the moment. She did it. That's the part. Like, Mercedes is going to win because that's what the story is. But, like, they've accomplished what they needed to accomplish with Harley. Like, she's over. The fact that people are even saying they want her to win is the win.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think people get that in. I figure with the way this match is going to be booked, I definitely think it's going to be a WWE style match, which could be popular with some people. But I don't think it's going to be a straightforward match. And that's why even more I don't think that she's going to win. I think that Mercedes is going to win here, guys.
Yeah. But again, Harley's killed it. She earned this spot. She deserves all of this. And she's been doing amazing this last a lot of months.
Yes. What I assume is going to be the main event. Probably one of the hottest storylines, not just the AEW is currently doing, one of the hottest storylines in wrestling. Toni Storm versus Mariah May for the AEW Women's Championship. Very excited for this, man. The build for this has been tremendous. Toni coming back and doing the rookie Toni Storm stuff played out so well. The execution of her shifting back to timeless Toni Storm and saying, haha, it was me all along. The close-up she did this week where I know you guys didn't believe it, but that was me. That girl in the red shorts, that was me. And she like reenacts what she actually did to get people to believe that it was rookie Toni Storm. And she was like, I know. Incredible, right? Really funny stuff.
Tremendous character work still. I think that's the most refreshing and craziest part for me, Phil, is like, I didn't think that they were going to go back to this feud so quickly. I thought they would give kind of Mariah more time to establish herself, get some more victories, become that world champion. And I thought that they would not get back to the timeless character so quickly. And I thought maybe it could be a mistake. Boy, was I wrong. Like, them immediately getting back to it, her initial transformation and what came post that, I'm like, oh yeah, I understand it. This probably should have never even gone away at this point. And initially I was like, Mariah can and needs this victory so bad, but I think Toni Storm is going to go over, man.
I've been saying it for weeks. Toni's winning. And I feel like Toni's winning with everything that's happening, with the way that she went away and she built up anticipation for a return. And by the time she got back, super duper over, still very much over as a baby face. No, I think she's winning. She is by far one of the biggest stars in this division. One of the biggest stars in the company at this point. And this has been one of the best stories they've told, telling the story of her losing to Mariah at All In, and All In leading to Mariah going on this reign of terror of her going, I ruined women's wrestling and I beat everybody. Everybody's afraid to challenge me. And I think she's done the best out of this. There have been some hiccups in this reign, but overall, I think this has been a good reign for Mariah. It's about the same time period as the Zack Sabre reign. It's a little bit over 100, 150, 160 days. And man, when you look at what she got out of this, the feud with Thunder Rosa, she got to go and run it back and do the stuff with Mina. And she's got so many interesting things out of this, but I definitely don't think this is the end of the road for Mariah. And I think that's where people are kind of confusing me, where they act like, oh, if she loses, there will be no going back. Mariah is an incredible talent. She will be champion again. But when you just look at the responses to Tony, and this is going to be her home country, I just don't see her losing.
Right. Some things are just undeniable, and I feel like Tony's at that point, and you want to like strike when you have these things, because like AEW's at this position and they want to garner and gain fans and gain things. You got to like do some certain things, I think, to aid that. And I think Tony being champion is probably one of those things. So yeah, I think at the end of the night tonight, Tony Storm's going to be your AEW Women's Champion again.
Yes, I definitely think that Tony is going to win. That's going to lead into whatever she's doing in Los Angeles at Revolution, her going in there as champion. It just makes sense. Again, her showing up and doing it. You like me. You really like me with the belt. It just makes all the sense in the world. And you can build up so many things. When she talked to Renee in the close-up, she's talked about all of these wrestlers she hasn't worked with. And it's like, well, wait, she hasn't had these matches. Like, she hasn't had the Statlander match. You just brought in Megan Bayne. And that's where I think when people talk about you got to stick the landing and you got to build this person up to a star and you got to give them the win, that's the one. Megan Bayne, once she gets up to that title match, you got to give her the win.
It's a wrap. Megan Bayne is on ascending to the heights, and she's just going to keep getting higher and keep getting higher. They definitely have to stick. I think they got something with her that's going to be special. But yeah, the people taking Mariah's loss as it's over for Mariah are so wrong. I think it's just this time right now. Mariah established herself beyond just being a great fighting champion. I think being featured on so many shows and giving so many opportunities to talk and wrestle is what really did it. And I think like she's one of those, her second reign will be even greater than her first, but I think she's told the company and the fans and everybody who she is with this first one.
I mean, coming in straight away and being in one of the best storylines ever told in the company, being in the best storyline involving women, that's a huge thing for her coming in. Having a great rookie year, leading into winning the Owen and then winning the belt in her home country, I think she'll be just fine. I don't think this hurt her at all. I think she's had such a good run, and the stuff she's done with Tony has been so pivotal to her career moving forward. Like, I don't think people are gonna look back and frown on the fact that she lost here. People are gonna look at the entirety of this story of the Tony stuff going into the Owen Cup and then all the way up to this point. Because I do think there'll be a third match. I don't think this is it. I think there'll be a trilogy of matches. But I just don't see Tony losing in Australia, man. I just don't see it, man.
You kind of set themselves up with a big moment. It's going to be the main event. Like, I mean, it could. Mariah definitely could go over, but I just doesn't look like it.
No, I definitely think that Tony is leaving Australia as champion. And I think that's the right move with just how popular she is right now. And again, what you want to do with this women's division with her as world champion, as a baby face, and you can get to the big matches with her. Nah.
Yeah, I just think we're at that big match moment time, and Tony you got to start loading up everything. Like, all the shows have to be big. Revolution has to have major matches and major moments and things, and I think Tony is what represents that.
Yeah, you've got so many big things you can do with her as champion. Like I said, we got the Statlander match we haven't done. You've got Megan Bayne climbing up the ranks. It's only a matter of time before Mercedes drops the TBS title and goes for the world title. The way that Mercedes talks about Tony online, that match is inevitable as well. And that feels like a big world title match. You've got so many of those that you can get to. That's not a knock at Mariah, but at this point where you're at with Tony, you got to ride this as long as possible.
Exactly. A great run for Mariah, and she still could win. We could just be talking.
Yeah. Speaking of just how funny Mercedes is, when the clip of Harley rapping went up and her response of, "Oh, now this bitch is Eminem," hilarious.
Mercedes is so good. See, that's what there's some things that she does that I wish again were on TV, but like, you can't win them all.
Yeah. Shelton is saying he doesn't see Mercedes dropping a belt until after All In at the earliest. I don't think that.
No.
I think it makes all the sense in the world if you're going back to this Willow match. Them doing the rematch at Double or Nothing makes all the sense in the world. And if you're going to give Willow the win, just do it at Double or Nothing. I would not be surprised if she drops that belt before then. And I would not be surprised if the match at All In is Mercedes versus Tony. Or it could be Mercedes versus Athena.
That's what I hope it is at All In. But yeah, I don't think that Mercedes is going to be TBS champion until All In. Like, she'll drop it before then.
Yeah, but that's, of course, if it was me. If it was me,
yeah,
I think Double or Nothing is right there. She doesn't need to hold that belt longer than a year.
No, I don't think so. I think she could lose it today and it'd be fine. But I think like playing that story up with Willow and the 1 year redemption thing just makes a lot of sense for Willow.
Yes. I mean, it could go either way. We could be wrong. She could hold the belt and drop it at All In. I don't know.
That's a fact.
Holding it until after All In, I don't know, Sheldon. I don't know if I believe that.
Probably not. We got a few super chats in here. Stephen Marcusili says Bianca had a heel reaction to Naomi hugging Grace at Royal Rumble.
She's had a few of those. She's been telling y'all all this time, hey, I don't like Bayley. I mean, she made nice with her in time to do that War Games match, but she's been very territorial of like, nah, I'm your friend. She's been doing the roller from Power. Now I'm your friend.
I hate when Bianca, you're not supposed to be like that. Your friends could have other friends, Bianca. Appreciate that, Steven. Bell says, was at Grand Slam last night. Awesome show. I have a feeling AEW will mute us as we were loud, but our chants are probably borderline not for TV.
Should be interesting. That raises a good question. I see Sheldon is saying that Willow should go for the world title. I think, and I could be wrong, I think that Statlander will win the world title before Willow does.
Yeah, because I think Willow's going to win the TBS championship.
I think that the Statlander world title run has been in the making for a lot longer. If she hadn't gotten injured, I think she would have won the world title by now. The way that she was being booked in her first year with the company, and they had her on that long winning streak, and she lost, I think they were eventually going to circle back to her being world champion. And the fact that it hasn't happened yet, I think it's long overdue. I think Statlander will be champion first.
They keep telling the story of Stat winning the championship. Like they're furthering along her thing. It feels like all the time. So I definitely see her winning that belt before Willow too.
Yeah.
The homie Crazy 101 says, if Tony wins the title back, what's next for Mariah?
Like I said, I don't think they're done. I think there will be a third match. I'm not sure when it will be, but I don't think we're done with this. I think it's going to be a trilogy of matches. I don't think they're going to close this off with the Collision match being their last match. I think there's going to be a pay-per-view match that's going to be the last match.
I know we're going to get a match one-on-one with them, I feel, on pay-per-view way before All In. So I don't think this is over. I think Mariah is going to just start telling stories with the rest of the women division and just like building and expanding on that.
Yes.
The homie Aaron Busby says, so apparently reports are coming out that Road Dogg is the co-head writer of SmackDown and the IWC are pissed. Thoughts? Who's surprised?
Not surprised at all with who his homies are, but we don't want it. That's cool. And I've been enjoying SmackDown before that, but I keep saying it's 3 hours.
It's so long.
It's too long, man.
On Fridays, it's even longer. Like Monday, 3 hours, it's like, okay, I understand. But Friday, 3 hours is fucking torture.
I'm old too, so at the end of the week, sometimes I be ready to fall asleep on SmackDown and get up later after SmackDown is over and do other things. But trying to sit through that 3 hours on Friday, sometimes it's rough.
Straight up. But yeah, nobody wants that, Aaron Busby. I don't think we have a choice though. He's gonna put all of his friends in head of the shows. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, it don't matter what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
It don't matter what you want, buddy.
This is DX show, baby. Suck it. Shanika says, just wanted to say a very late happy Saturday, y'all. Appreciate you, Shanika. Thanks for showing it.
Appreciate you, Shanika.
The homie Grapple Geekery says, best Australian rapper, Harley or Iggy? That's a crazy question.
Yeah. Who that? Thought you knew that.
I'm going to say Harley because she doesn't have that bullshit accent that Iggy does.
You're not feeling first thing first, something to realize.
No. And I hated Carmelo's song because it felt like a ripoff of an Iggy Azalea song. So
it was.
Carmelo come out, I'd be like, I hate this song.
I don't know how she got away with that because it was basically the Iggy record.
It was the same fucking record, Phil. Every time I'd play, I'd be like, what is this?
I don't know how she got away with that, but it did fit Carmella. But I don't know how she got away with that. Man, I miss Carmella, man. Get Carmella back on TV. I don't know what her health status is, but man, get her back on TV. I think Carmella was extremely underrated.
Yeah, now Carmella was one of them ones for a long time, for a while there. Like they started to like build the brand around her and stuff. Yeah, they need to get her back.
Yeah, I can't do that to Iggy. Iggy did have a smash. Fabulous. That year, that shit was everywhere, dog. Like, and I didn't get it, but nah, that shit was a smash, bro.
I get it. Every time she turned around, I was like, oh, I get it.
I'm so fancy. You can face the girl.
I was like, I see what you're doing, T.I. T.I. was trying to act like he made some crazy ass this girl. I see you, Tip.
And all of a sudden, he's like, that's the worst thing I did with my career. I'm like, dog.
All right, Tip.
That's the worst thing you've done with your career? Really? Really?
There's some other things I'd probably put on that list, Tip, but I hear you. I see you.
Yeah, nah, he's absolutely capping on that. I feel you trying to cap the people, but nah, that Iggy record was everywhere, dog.
You're a sicko, Grapple Geekery, for that question. And then Marcus M says, I think they're doing Athena versus Mercedes at All In. Does it need a title? Yes.
I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a good chance that Mercedes could beat Tony for the championship if she wins it by then. It's a world title match. I don't know. I can see it.
I feel like I see Mercedes as the AEW Women's World Champion by the end of the year. I just don't know at what point it happens, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it's going to happen. That is all of our super chats. Thank you guys for everything.
Appreciate you. I'm going to double check and see if we have any more Humper chats. Then we are going to slide up out of here.
We out.
We do not have any more Humper chats. Tony, what did you mean by this Humper chat? Because I was still confused by that. I don't know what you meant.
That Humper.
He says Tony versus Jamie at Revolution. Money Mark says that. Maybe. I think once you bring Jamie back, because it seems like she's gonna have some time away for a minute. At least that's what I got from her last promo. Once you bring her back, you got to get to it, dog. Because there's so many people that want to see you get to it. I know you're stalling because you're trying to wrap up this Tony and Mariah feud, but you got to get back to it. So Tony's saying we were talking about bullying nerds. That's what he means.
Oh, gotcha. The Naruto runners. I was going to say maybe Jamie could be the TBS. Like, Jamie could be the one to beat Willow after Willow wins it.
I don't know, man. People want to see her win that world title back. With the way her world title run ended, I think a lot of people want to see her win the world title back.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. it's starting to get kind of heavy up there. You need Mercedes, Tony, Willow, Jamie, which is a good problem for them to have. And like you said, Megan's going to become undeniable here very soon, and they're going to start to run into that problem too.
Yeah. Nah, Megan is going to be a problem soon.
Mm-hmm. She's great.
Yeah. But yeah, we don't have any more Humper Chats. This is probably where we bid you guys adieu. Appreciate you guys as always. Appreciate the support. Appreciate everybody that subscribed to our YouTube channel in our first month. We somehow picked up 650 subscribers in our first month. I did not expect to pick up that many subscribers that fast. But that's dope. If you don't feel like sitting through 3 hours of us talking and you want smaller, digestible clips, we've been putting a lot of them there. So subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Grapsody for that. And, you know, eventually we will have other more original content over there as well.
Facts.
But yeah, appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys tuning in as usual. This has been Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. Righteous Reg. We're out of here.
Peace.